We all set? We don't have enough people. One, two. Call a meeting to order of the Aquifer Protection Agency. Today, September 26th, 2024. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So for this evening, we're going to be sitting Walter for this portion of the Aquifer meeting. Fire evacuation, if there's a fire and emergency, exits to my left and your right and out the back door. Please get as far away from the building as you possibly can. Thank you. Minutes of the last, roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Terrence Lynch is
On vacation.
absent. Linda DeGray?
Here.
John Petronella is here. Francis Alimo?
Here.
Joseph Muley.
Here.
Kenneth Helinski is absent. Vinnie Grillo.
Here.
Christian D'Antonio is absent. Patrick Hooper, absent. And Walter Cruzel.
Here.
Okay, thank you. And you did get, Mr. Secretary, we're going to seat Walter for this.
Yes.
The minutes of our last meeting, which was held on July 25th, 2024. I think they're stuck to the back of this
So moved.
agenda.
Second.
There's a motion and seconded. Is there any discussion on the minutes from July 25th, 2024 Aquifer Protection? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, show of hands.
Aye.
All right. Okay. Enforcement officer, which would be Rick, and we don't have anything. Rick, everybody?
Nothing to enforce.
Okay. Public communications, this portion, number 6 on the agenda, public communications, we allow anybody in the public that would like to come up and address the commission or staff, as long as it doesn't pertain to anything that's on tonight's agenda. So if there's anybody that would like to come up and talk to us or chat with us, be glad to have you. And I don't see a line or anybody. So we will move on that. Public communication,
Continue.
public communications and petitions are closed. Okay. Continued public hearings. We don't have anything. New public hearings. I think we have, nope, just this approval here. Okay. Old business? Anybody old business? Nothing? Staff's good? Any old business? Staff, any new business?
Just one tonight. The applicant is here.
Okay. So when Mr. Secretary is ready, we're going to go to 10A.
Yes. ARA number 3114 Cranbrook Boulevard, Aquifer Protection Registration for Mad Hatter Auto Repair over the A48, A50 Aquifers, Sam and Zach LLC, applicant owner, map 56, lot 33, BL zone.
Are the applicants here? Yes. Would you please come up? Good evening. Good evening. Can you please both state your name and address for the record, please? Make sure the red light is on and a microphone.
My name is Mo Hassan at 290 Old County Road in Windsor Locks, Connecticut.
My name is A. Yusuf at 1162 Anfield Street, Anfield, Connecticut. I am the owner. Thank you.
Thank you. Staff, do you have an overview
Sure.
of what we have before us tonight?
Absolutely, Mr. Chair.
you.
So, as you are aware, I've been saying at every meeting, we are finalizing our list of registered facilities within the Aquifer Protection Layer. DEEP has been kind enough to give us a grace period. Our grace period is coming to an end after the month of October. Mad Hatter is one of 2 remaining facilities that needs to register their business. So Mr. Yusuf is here tonight to get his aquifer protection registration for the Mad Hatter Auto Repair for Activity D, which is repair of maintenance of vehicles or internal combustion engines of vehicles. So this site is it's right at the boundary, actually, of the A48 and the A50 aquifers. So some background info. This site is grandfathered in because they used to do general auto repair in 1986 from when it was Jody's Sound Center. On your table tonight is a copy of that original K7, as well as an old property card information that also says that the parcel land use at that time was an auto service station. I'm sure many of you might not remember Jody's Sound Center, but they used to sell, along with repairing cars and doing auto repair, they used to do sound systems, radios, and all kinds of upholstery stuff for cars. So over the years, it's been passed down. Mr. Yusuf acquired the property in 2020. Our precedent staff never fully finished implementing our aquifer program, so as usual, we missed a lot of businesses. Mr. Yusuf was never properly notified in 2008 when our aquifer program was coming into play, and we were adopting the aquifer level A mappings. And as required by the aquifer registration, DPH, DEEP, and the water company was informed of this registration tonight, 10 days prior to the hearing, as required by their regulations. The only ones I heard back from was Connecticut Water, who had no issues or concerns with the application, and DEEP, who also had no concerns with the application. A site inspection was conducted, which was in your packets tonight. We inspected the site on September 6th and 2024 at 2 p.m. We met on site with the applicants that are here before you tonight. There were no violations. The site was in compliance. Everything was clean. A couple of floor stains here and there, but nothing too serious. The floor drains are previously permitted, and they drain into a grease trap, which is cleaned by a third-party environmental cleaner. And other than that, that is all I have tonight.
That's good news. So you were satisfied with your inspection and everything,
Yes.
everything
so-
that you required?
Yep.
Would the applicants like to add anything this evening?
No, I think everything is in place.
Okay, good. Any questions from the members? Any questions? Okay, so there's a resolution motion, Mr. Secretary?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve ARA number 3114 Cranbrook Boulevard Aquifer Protection Registration for Mad Hatter Auto Repair over the A48 and A50 aquifers. Sam and Zach, LLC, applicant owner, map 56, lot 33, BL zone.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? Discussion on the motion. Roll call, please, Mr. Secretary.
Yes, Frank Alimo,
4.
Linda DeGray,
4.
Vinnie Grillo,
4.
Joseph Muley,
4.
Walter Crizel,
4.
and John Petronella is 4. 6-0. Approved.
That's approved, unanimous.
Thank you so much.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion on the motion. Nothing. We're adjourned.
Time 6:40.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Microphone. Good evening. We call the meeting to order of the regular meeting of the Enfield Planning and Zoning Commission, September 26, 2024. Roll call? No, this is backwards. Call to order. Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. Pledge of Allegiance, please. All rise.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. Fire evacuation. If there should be a fire or any type of emergency, the exit is to my left and your right, over there, or behind you. Please exit, move as far away from the building as you can. Thank you. Mr. Secretary, roll call, please.
Terrence Lynch is absent. Linda DeGray.
Here.
John Petronella is here. Frank Alimo.
Here?
Joseph Muley.
Here.
Kenneth Helinski.
Here.
Vinnie Grillo.
Here.
Christian D'Antonio.
Here.
Patrick Hooper is absent. And Walter Crizel.
Here.
Very good, thank you. Approval of minutes. A, September 12th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any corrections, amendments, discussion? Anybody have anything? Staff has anything? No? Good. Motion, show of hands to approve September, I'm sorry, you got something?
We have to move.
Have to approve it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Motion to approve September 12th, 2024. Show of hands. Thank you. B, the minutes of September 12th, 2024, B.
So moved.
Second.
Second, made and seconded. Any discussion? None? Seeing none? Show of hands, please, for B.
Aye.
Okay, very good. Town attorney's report.
Excuse me, Mr.
Oh,
Chairman.
nope,
I
go
think
ahead.
you need to seat an alternate this evening.
We sat Walter just arbitrarily. I'm not sure it's his night.
No. We got all the members, full members. Oh,
Well,
yes, I'm
We do.
lying.
You
No,
said that
you're
before.
lying.
Wrong.
Twice you did that to me.
You're lying and we're all lying.
Patrick Hooper's
Hooper,
Well, Terrence
due,
Lynch
he's
is not here.
who's next after Hooper? Okay, so we already did. So we're going to seat Walter again. We sat Walter for Aquifer, and we're going to sit, what, I'm sorry? Are you good,
Perfect.
Steph? Okay. Walter, you're up. Thank you.
What was who made the motion and seconded it for the September 12th minutes, item B?
I made the motion.
Okay, we got through all the logistical baloney here. Stuff.
Terrence has been gone.
I know, you're in my chirping over here, like,
Terrence has been gone too long.
I know. Okay, I don't see a town attorney's report, unless I'm missing it. Staff?
I think we actually handed it out last meeting because it was redone immediately after the previous one. So I think it was dated like September 9th, so, and it hasn't been updated since.
All right, nothing's changed, it's always what it
Well,
was.
something may have changed, but you'll learn about that at the next meeting.
I want to see that list get smaller.
You and we both.
Okay, so we have no town, we're going to refer to the other one, September 9, 2024, and there's no vote on that. So number 6 on tonight's agenda is the zoning enforcement officers report, which is in front of us and extensive. He is a very busy person. Take a moment and go over those if you'd like, and if there's any questions, maybe staff can help. I'm aware of some of them.
If you, Mr. Chairman, if you have any questions, unfortunately, Rick was unable to attend tonight,
Yep.
so I just said, if you have any specific questions, I'll take them down and we could report back.
Okay?
And then I also have this thing that I handed out with the picture of the little Martian man or whatever.
This thing?
Tin Man. We just have some little discussion on that.
Okay, is this going to be under your report?
No, this is actually under enforcement.
This right here?
No, the one with the
robot.
picture of the robot.
Did I get that?
Yes.
Ah! Right here. Okay. This guy looks like he's going to make wine, but go ahead.
Yes.
To make wine?
They were this year, yes.
You have something to add?
Does anybody have any questions? Or
On
do
the-
you want me
anybody
to
have any
talk about
questions
this
on the
while?
On this? No
Yeah.
question?
Just one, through chair to staff. On this Peerless Way, are we getting any progress on the CO being
Good.
issued? It's on the third page.
Third
One
page.
Peerless Way. It says no CO issued for tenant spaces. It's been ongoing for a long time, so I was just wondering.
We've done what we can
All right.
in our department.
Okay.
Isn't that litigation?
Not currently.
Okay. Is there any other questions on enforcement officer's report? I know there's a lot there. And if you guys want to have them here, let me know and I can talk to staff.
Yeah, he just had a previous
Oh,
engagement.
no problem.
so-
That's fine. But
yeah.
I mean, if there's anybody that,
Yeah.
just let me know and I can talk to Lori. And
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I have a comment.
Sure.
Microphone, please.
Oh, it's on. To staff through the chair, but just as a follow-up of the meeting 2 weeks ago regarding, was it Pheasant Hill, the condos on Weymouth Road? Is there any follow-up going on with respect to that, with Ms. Turner's?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
I've actually just got the HOA president contact information, and we requested to have a meeting. The recent president unfortunately passed away, so the role has been passed down to a new president who is not as familiar with the history of the development like he should be. So we requested a meeting, and he's going to come meet with staff, and we're going to talk about the violations. We're going to talk about the special permit and what conditions were imposed and try and catch him up to speed to get the development back into compliance.
Very good, thank you.
In addition, we may recommend that they come back and modify their special use permit so it's very clear as to what is and is not permitted in all of the different areas. So that'll be part of the discussion.
Great, thank you.
Just a follow-up. In your work on this, was there an open violation? Remember that was brought to, something was open?
I believe, yes, there was.
So that'll all be tied into your discussions? Okay, great. Anything else? Thank you, Mr. Petronelli.
So
Yes.
this cute picture of the little, I think he looks like a Martian, but little tin man. So under our definition of signs, it says any letters, figures, designs, symbols, trademarks, or illuminated devices, including banners and trade flags, which are situated so that they can be seen from a street and are intended to attract attention for advertising, provide directions, or identification of a legitimate land use on the same parcel of land. The owner of Mad Hatter has created this muffler dude. He wanted to put it out front, like on a pedestal, like up along the road, and we were like, absolutely not. And then we were discussing it and thinking, well, it is
art.
related to the business. However, maybe if they put it back by the building, it would not be considered a sign. So I guess the question is what do you consider figures when you look at this?
Does it follow the lines of public art or
Right.
signage?
The world leading to AI here, I don't know.
If it's next to it, that thing's pretty cool.
It is.
I agree.
Yeah.
It goes with the it's Mad Hatter, he does exhaust and everything. Thank you. It's an exhaust guy. It's what his business is. It is. He's. If you guys can see this, he's holding a muffler. He's got an exhaust head with. I mean, the thing's pretty cool, but I mean, yeah, not by the road, but by the building. I don't.
He's pretty far off the road, too.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
His
I-
mailbox is made out of mufflers too.
Yeah.
Just want to
I
point that
really
out.
don't see. I don't see a problem with this.
So we could consider this art.
It is.
Well, I know, but is it also considered a sign?
question? Mr. Alinsky has a,
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. It seems to me there are other places in town that have kind of figures or something in front of them. At least I can't think of one offhand, but it seems to me I've seen them around.
And there's no lettering on this
Yeah.
sculpture
So I don't see
whatsoever,
where
so
it's, yeah, I
how,
don't see where it's a problem. I don't.
and
I
there's
think-
no like signage on it that says,
Outside, right near the building. And
So, I think that public art is a very nice thing to have in a community, and, we would like to promote something like this, but we also, there's always that fine line of distinction between advertising and art. If this was a rhino, you wouldn't even be thinking about it, because what does a rhino have to do with this? But the fact that it is made out of mufflers and tin cans and things,
Is this mounted permanent, or is this a permanent thing?
I think he wanted to put it on a concrete pad or something.
Yeah, just to keep it
Just to keep
stable.
it solid.
I would recommend that something be done to anchor it, because in looking at it, I don't think it's terribly heavy where a strong wind could kind of
Right.
knock that over, even blow it across the street. But if it's something that he's going to permanently put out there, that could be problematic. Or is he going to put it out there every day and take it in at night? Or
No, I think that's why he wanted to put it on a pad,
yeah,
but he wanted to put it up by the road,
yeah.
where it
okay.
really could kind of act as a sign.
yeah.
So
I think it can cause accidents. You see that thing?
Yeah.
What the heck is that?
Okay. So do you think that it's okay if it's closer to the building?
Yeah. I don't-
Yeah.
Guys, yeah,
Okay.
pretty cool.
No, I think it's cool. So, all right.
So that
We
was
will
part
take
of
that
zoning
under advisement
enforcement?
then.
Is that what, okay,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. All right. Number 7 is public participation. This point of the agenda, we allow and ask if anybody would like to come up, address the commission, staff, as long as it's not something that's on the agenda for tonight. So if there's any questions about the planning and zoning and processes and staff, feel free to come up. And this is your opportunity to ask any questions. Seeing none, so we'll close that item on the agenda. Number 8, do we have any bond releases tonight? I didn't see any in the
Not
package.
this evening.
Okay. Did you have something? No. Okay.
I'm just pushing my glasses.
I seen your hand. You've been feisty tonight. Okay, no bond releases. Do you have any administrative approvals, staff?
No.
Not at this time. We're going to be receiving one that we would request to be an admin approval, but we haven't received it yet, so.
Good. Good. Yeah, let us know. Director of Planning, do you have a report for us this evening?
We are supposed to appoint a member of the PZC to the Conservation Commission. They meet the first Tuesdays of the... Oh, the second Tuesdays, that's wetlands, yeah. Second Tuesday of the month, and they're just looking for somebody from this commission to be on it. So,
Is there anybody that, on the commission that would like to serve on that?
Yeah, I'll volunteer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr.
I know there's
Hussein,
more seniority, so if
No, it's,
anybody
we
wants-
appreciate you stepping up, and
Happy to volunteer.
Mr. D'Antonio. Thank you very much, Mr. D'Antonio.
thank you,
Anybody else?
Christian.
Yeah. All right.
I waited a second. I did wait a second.
So just so you know, I believe there's also an opening on the Ag Commission, but that's not required to be a PCC member. So, thank you again. That's great. I think you'd be a great asset to the team there. In your memo, in your packet, you received a memo, and it was actually from Aaron Markovich to the TIF committee, the Tax Increment Financing Committee. But anyway, I just wanted you to be aware that he had put in an application from the American Planning Association for what is known as the the Urban Design and Preservation Division's Design and Preservation Rapid Assistance Team, which is the DPRAT for short. So what this is a collaboration of planners throughout the nation and some local planners as well that will come in and assist our town and the planning office, of course, as well, but basically assist our town to kind of not re-envision, but try to take all of the planning documents that have been done in Thompsonville and come up with a plan of attack. So I'll just read this for the public's interest. The DPRAT team provides for free planning assistance to local governments that need planning support to address specific problems or challenges. It will offer support through an intensive 2-day planning workshop during which experts from around the country will engage community members to understand the local planning, preservation, and design constraints and opportunities and help develop possible solutions. Now, with the advent of the train station and the mall redevelopment and new housing developments downtown, basically Aaron felt that it was reason to check back on these plans and ensure that we were moving ahead correctly, and also to help engage the wider public and do visioning images that would show off a revitalized Thompsonville as a sales type of product. Therefore, the project will seek to find strategies for the following areas: waterfront zone plan, transportation hub connections, Main Street revitalization and Freshwater Brook, revitalization of the Central Business Core, housing and infrastructure in Cottage Green, and youth engagement. The 2-day workshop will be October 21st and 22nd, and a virtual meeting will probably be held October 14th. So basically what I would like you to do, because I would love to have as many members as possible, and we don't know the timing or anything at this point, but I believe it's going to be October 22nd will be the full day of workshop with the public. So save the date for October 22nd, I believe, and we will have more information coming soon.
And that's going to be held here, you think? Or-
Yep.
Okay.
Well, here in the building someplace.
Yeah, let us know when you get more information from the town. So it'll be Tuesday, October 22nd.
Right. And then I also gave you a memo also from Aaron regarding the 250th America 250 effort, and so they're creating a group to organize our 250th. I think what he said bicentennial or quincentennial is what he said. So if anybody's interested in that, you could contact the Economic Development Commission or Department, and or myself or and sign up. I think they're looking for people from the public as well. And just real quickly, we had the Enfield 2024 Business Breakfast this morning. It was a great event. There was about 100 people there. The governor spoke. We had Congressman Joe Courtney and Kissel and Carol Hall and a number of dignitaries were there, a lot of developers and business owners. It was a really great program, and I think that we'll probably be trying to do that on an annual basis. We tried about 4 or 5 years ago, and then COVID hit, so we had to stop. So, Chris Bromson and Steve Biolenda and Aaron Markovich were very great speakers and organizers of this whole thing, so it was very good. Apparently, the word is out that the mall, the Enfield Marketplace Mall, did not get their brownfield grant. That is true, but they will persevere and they will be persistent and try again to get more money for the brownfields. And the reason for that brownfield is that the mall itself, the actual structure, has asbestos in it. So that's where the brownfield comes in. It's not like there's anything in the ground or anything that at least nobody believes there to be. It's just that the mall itself actually has asbestos. So in order to knock it down, it needs to be remediated. So that's money that they certainly do need, but they will keep trying, and they are still planning on moving forward. So just so, and I've heard people say that it's dead. It's like, no. It's just stalled a little bit. in places, but I think that they're moving forward.
Thank you for that.
So, and I handed out the flyer that they handed out during the meeting today.
Is there 2 grants that are in process, another one other than this?
I believe there is, but I do, well, no.
For the mall?
No, for the mall. I think
Yeah.
we're going for another grant, but I'm not
I thought I'd
positive.
seen that too.
Yeah.
Might have been from the town side?
Well, a lot of times the town has to sponsor the grants.
Oh, that's what it was, I think.
Yeah.
Got it, okay.
Right.
Well, that's good news, and I hope everybody in TV land heard that, because, boy, did that blow up all over town, and it was all over.
Well, they
I
were
really
there.
appreciate you setting the record straight. And
Yeah, Woodsonia
people
was there at the events this morning, and they gave a nice little presentation, and they said they're moving forward. You know, they'll go for the next round, and then
Wheels
they'll
of
go for the
government
next
turn a little
round.
slow sometime, right?
Yeah,
Well, that's great news.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Lori, that you have for us?
No, I think I'll stop now.
You stopped on a good note. Thank you very much. Okay, well, we did the appointment, right, Mr. D'Antonio? We did A already.
Speaking.
Under 10. Okay. So now we have, anybody have any, under number 11, outside correspondence? Is there any outside correspondence? Commissioner DeGray, please.
It may not be outside, but he is outside. Any dates as to when Don will be coming to start the regulations?
So we just realized that our next meeting is going to have
October.
very few applications, so I was actually going to call him, and the day got away from me. But I will call him tomorrow and see if he could come, or we could plan something for the next meeting.
All right, great.
I believe you laid out a timeline when he was here.
Yeah, and starting in October, but it's October. Unfortunately, it's October already.
Anybody else have any outside correspondence? Number 12, moving on to commissioners' correspondence. Is there any commissioners' correspondence this evening? We've got nothing, seeing none? Okay. So now we have number 13 with continued public hearings, 3102, if you would, please, Mr. Secretary.
Public hearing number 3102, 117 North Street, special use permit for the operation of a construction office and associated facilities per section 6.20, and a home occupation professional office per section 4.50.5. Joseph LaCory, applicant owner, map 93, lot 15, I-1 zone.
Good evening. Your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Wes Wentworth, Wentworth Civil Engineers, Lebanon, Connecticut. I'm here on behalf of the owner and applicant, Joseph LaCory.
All right, so we had some outstanding issues, I remember, at the last meeting. So did you want staff to comment on whether they received everything, or you want to go first, or?
Go ahead, Lauren. That's fine.
I've received everything.
Great. Do you want to elaborate? This is going to be quick. You received
This
everything that we
actually
had
should be
outstanding.
quick.
So go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Wes will agree that he modified the plans per our request. I modified the conditions of approval, and I think that we pretty much are good to go. But I'll let Wes say whatever.
No, I concur. The only thing in that conditions in the title, I just want to note. Go ahead. I'll pick it up. We can continue. That's all.
So what-
I just thought there was still a reference to the 4:30 to 4:30 within the conditions. But I just want to make sure that's removed.
Oh,
Under general conditions?
so, oh, right. No, actually, it was under my discussion on section 6.20.
Okay, just understand. All right, so it's not part of the conditions, so that's fine.
It was not part of the conditions, I believe.
Okay.
And just from the conditions of approval, number 14, I did say permitted materials for storage are decorative rock and gravel, screen topsoil, or similar. Mulch leaves are permitted to be stored for farm soil regeneration. So, as you might recall, the recommendation was that we were just going to quarter out the area of the storage area, and however they store it within that area is fine. So I guess the only thing was how it was truly going to be delineated in the field, because I think
Well,
the wood.
you had a condition of using those concrete light
Yeah, and
posts
I
or
don't know
similar,
whether
and
they're-
that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So, okay, that would be good. Okay.
So just for the record on this, Commissioner, you going to recuse yourself this evening on this?
Yes. Yes, after he could,
Any,
I wasn't here at the last meeting, and I didn't get a chance
Okay.
to see it. so.
Yep, then he will be recused. Sorry, I should have mentioned that before. Go ahead, continue, sorry.
I have nothing else to add. I take any
Recuse.
comments or
So we're
questions.
using the
Commissioners?
concrete,
Yes, and Lori had written that up as a condition, which is in her proposed conditions. There's some precast light bases, or if those don't work out, something mutually agreed upon with the town, which is fine.
any questions to the applicant tonight? Any questions to the applicant? Go ahead, Mr. Petronello, please.
Not really a question, I just want to voice that I'm opposed to this application, and I don't feel it's appropriate for an I-1 zone. I don't feel that it's in conformance with Section 9.20.2.A III, in that the proposed use is not in harmony with the appropriate and orderly development of the district in which it is proposed, being I-1, and it will be detrimental to the orderly development of the adjacent I-1 properties. I also don't feel that it's in conformance with 6.30.5C, where I feel that the outside storage is a primary use and not an accessory use. Yards such as this are more appropriate in an I-2 zone, which is why in an I-2 zone it's required for a site plan review. I also, you know, in 9.20.2, you know, if we're going to open this up to an I-1 zone, a use such as this in an I-1 zone, you might as well get rid of the I-1 zone and make all I-1 I-2, because, you know, I always look down the road. If we grant this, we got to look at every other I-1 application that comes down the road that wants to heavy contractors' yards and material storage and so forth. You know, there'll be outside storage of materials, sand and gravel type of operation. I'm not opposed to the home occupation business, even storage of trucks, but it's the general use outside of that, which is what I'm opposed to. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, staff?
I just want to remind the commission that this application is a requirement from the courts to move the site forward. So you actually have a little bit more discretion than you might otherwise.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, and I was going to mention, because approving this will let them put this into compliance.
That's
Way I
what we've
understand.
been seeking for like 6 years.
So if we don't allow it to go forward, they'll be out of compliance.
That would be correct.
Just want to make, and that was on the prior one, the last 2 weeks ago as well. They were both the same. Okay. Any other? Vinny, you can.
Yep.
Walter? I'm good. I'm all set. So at this point, this is a public hearing. So is there anybody, you can just stay right there. Is anybody in the audience would like to approach and speak for or against this application? Would anybody like to speak for or against this application? For the last time, the third time, anybody like to speak for or against this application? Seeing none, I make a motion. Sir, you have to, whoa. You have to come forward, sit down, state your name and address for the record, please. Is this about this application?
Yes. Sorry, first time doing this. Lorenzo Lewis, 140 Brewster Road in Enfield. I am for anything that is moving forward, and as Lori just said, it seems like you guys have the power to make a change that has been sought after for 6 years. So I totally agree with approving his application.
Thank you. Appreciate your input. Thank you very much. Okay, anybody else like to come up? So at this point, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close the public hearing. Discussion. Roll call vote, to close the public hearing, please.
Frank Alamo,
4.
Linda DeGray.
4.
Kenneth Helinski.
4.
Joseph Muley.
4.
John Petronella is 4. Walter Krizel.
4.
And who am I missing here? Oh, Christian D'Antonio.
4.
Public hearing is closed.
Thank you. Okay, so we can deliberate amongst ourselves. Is there anybody and any other members like to deliberate
You have to
amongst
make the
ourselves? Is there
motion
anything?
first. Don't we have to make the motion first?
Well, I'm going to make the motion to approve, yeah, but is there any other comments?
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to make the comment, I mean, not for you guys, but just for the audience and everybody else, right? This is not a normal application. So, you know, if it does pass, you know, that's not an indication that we encourage this type of development or this form of application, right? This came to us as a result of many years, as implied, of you know, unapproved development and behavior. So, you know, we always want to encourage everybody to come to us, you know, earlier in the process. The sooner the better, and you know, work with us. You know, we'll work with you. It's a lot easier to work with us before, you know, you start digging into the ground and doing major revisions. So, you know, I just want to put it out there.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oop. Commissioner DeGray.
Just one thing. I do understand where Commissioner Petronella is coming from, and I agree that this is not a normal circumstance. But having sat here since the beginning, this is a step forward to at least get them into compliance and to have some conditions that we can enforce instead of the craziness that was actually going on. And the fact that we've had to take him to court states that this man was really resistant and that we had to be, our backs are against the, pretty much pushed, and his back against the wall, our back against the wall. So I will, you know, vote in the affirmative for this, but I do understand where you're coming from, John. Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Petronella.
Yeah, also, I may add that I look at this as rewarding someone for bad behavior, which promotes more bad behavior, and that's fine. Also, you know, I take exception to the court's position of punting and throwing this back at us. I don't feel that that's appropriate to try to strong-arm us as a commission, you know, to approve this, like we're being forced to, and I certainly don't feel that we should be put in that position. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Petronella. All right, so at this point, I will entertain the motion, Mr. Secretary, to approve
Yep.
application 3102.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the site plan approval for a special use permit for home occupation and for the construction office and facility located at 117 North Street, map 93, lot 15, Joseph LaCorey, Sand and Gravel LLC applicant, Joseph LaCorey owner, in the I-1 zone.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Frank Alimo.
4.
Linda DeGray.
4.
Kenneth Helinski.
4.
Joseph Muley.
4.
Christian D'Antonio,
4.
Walter Krizel,
4.
and John Petronella is against.
Okay, 1 against and 5-4. Right. The motion, 6-4. The motion.
So Christian
Yeah,
officially
he
isn't
shouldn't,
voting.
right, he's not seated.
So I got 6-4 and 1 against.
Abstain.
Oh,
One
actually,
abstained.
and 1 abstained.
Oh, actually recused.
Recused, yeah.
5-4,
1 against.
1 against, and 1 abstain.
Recused.
Thank you.
Recused.
Don't count the
Application
abstain.
passes. Thank you, yep, thank you.
Sorry, I had to like rewrite this.
Because the recused aren't part of it.
Because
Yeah,
of the abstention.
right.
I got confused.
I know. I'm just using the wrong verbiage. So it was 5.
Well, we had to do it. Okay, no problem, no problem.
What's the next one?
Okay. All right. Next application tonight, under new public hearings, is on B.
Yeah.
B, 3104.
The Enfield Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing at the regular meeting on Thursday, September 26, 2024, at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Council Chambers, 820 Enfield Street, Enfield, Connecticut, concerning the following application. Public hearing number 3104, 98 Elm Street. Is that 98? Application for a special use permit for a drive-through with a modification to allow 2 additional tenants, Willowbrook Enfield LLC, applicant Elm Street LLC, owner map 43, lot 27, BR zone.
Thank you. Obviously, are the applicants, name and address for the record, please?
Yes, Attorney Alan Curto for the applicant, Willowbrook Enfield LLC, DBA Zenleaf Enfield.
And beside you?
Hi. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Ryan Ewing, applicant for Willowbrook Enfield. My home address is 3600 Smallman Street, Pittsburgh, PA 15201.
Thank you very much, John. Staff, would you like to give us a little overview?
Yes, if you recall, why isn't this on? That's,
Did you break it, Lori?
don't tell me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's on.
Oh, okay, the red light's not going out, even though it's pushed down. So, the,
I can hear you. Is it actually busted?
Big.
it's just the red,
George's mic for a second. I had to unplug it actually.
okay.
Or you know what? You talk.
Thing IT is here.
Okay, so I can talk loud if you want.
We'll see if you can resolve it.
I'll wait till they talk and then I'll fix it. I know. what you
Okay,
do.
so this application was, the applicant applied for a retail cannabis store that was approved. And now that they've done that, they would like to now put a drive-through for that retail establishment. And I will let them speak, and then I'll explain how we allow this for drive-throughs.
Thank you, staff.
Right.
Gentlemen,
Thank you.
the floor is yours.
I know what the problem is.
As Lori alluded, this is a second trip here for the same applicant. In March of 2023, Zenleaf Enfield got a special permit to operate as a hybrid retail cannabis establishment. That was unanimously approved. That special permit was recorded. Subsequent to that, in the fall of 2023, Zenleaf, or a Zenleaf affiliate, purchased the property. At the time of the first special permit, they were going to, the plan then was to rent, but they subsequently purchased the property, which gives them total site control, obviously. And they're here with this application to make a modification to the first special permit. The subject building, the Outback, the closed Outback Steakhouse restaurant, is approximately 6,000 square feet. Zenleaf determined that they would like to use approximately a third of that, a little bit more than a third, 2,115 square feet, as the approved cannabis establishment, and to have two small retail tenants, as yet undetermined, to split evenly the remaining 4,000 square feet. The other change is a drive-through, and I guess Lori is going to explain how that is done. I'll do it if you want me to, but I'll leave it to you if you prefer to do it.
So just before you start, it's going to be on the end, I would imagine. So is it the east end or the west end where the drive-through is going? So we can picture this.
It's on the east end.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, if you look at plan sheet C200.
I tried to load it, but it's too big.
Yeah, they're all pretty big. That's the problem with big site plans. That's the site plan sheet that shows the drive-through.
Okay. Very good. You can continue.
Well, the application was submitted on approximately August 19th. We received staff comments. We responded to the few comments that there were. I did want to note that because of the addition of the drive-through, the impervious surface is actually being decreased. I provided this chart in response to comments, but the total acreage of the site is 1.31 acres. Prior to, at present, prior to the construction of the drive-through, the impervious surface was 0.97 acres. The pervious surface was 0.34, 74% and 26% respectively. With the proposed drive-through, because of the large grassy area that's going to be added, the impervious acreage drops down to 0.87. The pervious acreage goes up to 0.44, so that the impervious area after construction would be 66%, as opposed to the present 74%. So that was all I wanted to point out. Ryan, did you want to add anything?
That's all right with the chairman. Hi, good evening. Just wanted to give you some context as to who I am as part of Willowbrook Enfield. My name is Ryan Ewing. I'm Vice President Retail Compliance for Verano Holdings Corp. I'm personally responsible for all 152 medical marijuana dispensaries that we have throughout our national footprint, including all of the 5 locations that we have currently in Connecticut. So I can substantively talk about any of our operations, why we're excited to be back in Enfield before you tonight, and how we got here, and our motivations as to why we want to add a drive-through, but we also want to subdivide the space. And I'd like to thank Lori and her team for being as helpful as they have been in guiding us through the process. We've been very forthcoming throughout meeting with Lori and her team that our intention in subdividing the space was to prioritize local small businesses as part of our community building efforts here. We've put a lot of work into meeting with people in the community, and we're happy to be part of here a long time, assuming that we're able to operate. So I also like to add that we have our traffic engineer here. Kermit, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'll just answer questions.
Sure. He was the person responsible for engaging the traffic engineering study and dealing with the state OSTA, so he can substantively answer any questions that the commission has as well. Thank you.
So since your first approval, your business model is the same?
Yes, sir.
We extensively got in. I was here, so I remember.
There's been no change to our operations. Frankly, sir, a 6,000 square foot dispensary is much too large than what is I would say necessarily prudent or needed. A 2,000 square foot space is much more appropriate for a retail footprint, and that's why we wanted to take the opportunity to provide 2 additional locations for local businesses if possible.
So is the proposed drive-through relative to accessibility?
Absolutely. Drive-through is an incredibly common method of our pharmacists, and there will be a pharmacist in store because that is a medical and adult use facility, providing medicine to people that need it. First and foremost, we at Verano Holdings Corp., we do not have a single store that is just adult use only in just any market that we're in. In any of the states that we operate, we always have stores that are providing medicine to people. That's our company culture. That's our culture here. There will always be a pharmacist with a white lab coat on in that dispensary serving patients that need it. But to answer your question, yes, drive-thrus are incredibly helpful for accessibility purposes. We also have curbside service, which has been very successful throughout the United States where we operate it. And it's part of our pretty tried and true formula. We're very established in our operations, and we've learned a lot of lessons just through the years in all of our markets. So yeah, absolutely, sir.
So one of the things I remember we got into depth was about your security model.
Yes, sir.
So what does this do with the drive-through to your security piece of it all? Where it's
minor changes, but nothing too substantive. You'll have bulletproof glass that'll be one-way tinted. You'll have direct lights to make sure that you're capturing both the face and the license plate of the vehicle. And essentially the drive-through area is, you'll see it's no different than any of our other point-of-sale systems that are throughout that sales counter. Sorry, I talk with my hands.
No,
Apologies.
I'm Italian, so don't worry.
Perfect. I mean, yeah, that's where. So any of our sales counters, right, you'll have panic buttons on either side. That's going to be a company rule for us. Same thing with a drive-through counter. It's essentially just going to have a panic button right there. You'll have an additional dome camera that'll be about 3 feet to your right, a foot off the side, getting a proper view of the cash and the transaction itself. But that drive-through area, if you look on the floor plan, sir, Mr. Chairman, that's all going to be in the same limited access area where the point of sale counter is. So there's no actual change to our operations. If anything, it increases efficiency because instead of having people get out of their cars, come in and wait in line, we're able to maintain a consistent flow for providing medicine. And I'd say that our average transaction time with a pre-order would be maybe 4 minutes in and out. And another thing to mention is that we don't do any drive-up ordering for drive-through. You have to have a pre-order in place and get in line. We're not talking about menus or placing it there. It's not transactional. It's a pickup. We confirm your ID. We confirm your licensed, qualified, unexpired medical marijuana card, collect payment, and provide you with a closed bag of properly labeled, compliant, regulated products.
And that was going to be my next question. You touched on it a little bit. How does the ID process work?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a general rule of thumb, your ID is being checked anywhere from 2 to 3 times during any transaction. First and foremost, before you are able to enter a facility or right when you walk up to the right when you drive up to the drive-through window, first thing we're going to ask you is for your ID to confirm that you're of lawful age. Your ID has to show that you're of lawful age, and it can't be expired. It also has to be something that's readily acceptable with your face in it. So, and there's no wiggle room on that. I'm the Vice President of Compliance. We're very serious about ID checks and security in general. And I can tell you that the Connecticut Department of Consumer Protection takes their job and their mandate very seriously. We respect them for that. We have no problem working with our regulators. After you have the initial check to make sure that we're able to be speaking with you either in the vehicle itself as the driver or walking or just trying to gain entrance to the reception area, then we would buzz you back. Then would begin another process where you would actually begin talking with someone, either a dispensary technician if you're a patient or a cannabis advisor if you are not, and they would confirm your ID again. Only then, after doing it at least 2 times, will we then have you provide product for us after we collect payment. It comes stapled in a bag with a receipt and a legal disclaimer on it. We remind you that it's illegal to loiter on premises, and it's always been illegal for you to consume these products anywhere but in the comfort of your home.
Is the person driving the only person that can pick up the order, or what if somebody's in the passenger seat and the driver's not getting it, but the passenger is?
We do not do that, sir. You have to be the driver. If you are a patient and you have a caregiver with you, that is when we would allow that conduct to occur. But we don't allow people to do multiple pickups in one car, because then if you do it for 2 people, then you could have 5 people in a car and everyone has a pickup. That's not what the point of our drive-through is. Our drive-through is for efficient service for people who need medicine, right? And if you're an adult use customer going through the drive-through line, that's fine, but you have to be the only person in the vehicle, or it has to be for you.
You're touching on the things that I'm concerned about. Thank you for those answers.
Yes, sir. I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. I'm going to open it up to if anybody else has any more questions. Please, Mr. Alinsky.
Yeah, as part of the narrative from our planning department, we noticed that the police department had an objection to the the vehicles, SUVs and things for, and was recommending rather two-way rather than a one-way, or is it the other way around? It's the other way around. They were recommending one-way versus two-way. And then there was a response from Attorney Corto saying that describing the SUVs and the 19-foot and the stalls are only 18 feet. So, and typical parking stalls are only 18 feet. So you're actually scaled larger than what the requirement is. So the question to staff through the chair is, has the police department accepted this explanation?
I believe so, yes. I haven't seen any other response, so.
Okay,
that's
all right. Question for the applicants. What other medical personnel are present other than a pharmacist in your facility?
Yes, sir. So in a facility such as this is known as a hybrid retailer in Connecticut, sir. That would be a medical facility that also serves adult use customers, okay? You use the same check-in station, but we're checking for different things. For our adult use customer, you need to be 21 or up. For a patient, you'd have to have a medical ID card and be of legal age, or have a caregiver with you that also has a license. So right there, as an initial matter to gain entry to the facility, there's a specialized receptionist that just deals with medical patients. Those patients always get priority access. They never wait in line to get into the facility, and they never wait in line to obtain their medicine. So in the way that we operate, this is a national rule for us. It's essentially like TSA PreCheck. You would go, any medical patient that goes into any of our Zenleaf facilities, including this one in Enfield, if we were able to, sir, would go to the first available register at all times. Under Connecticut law, I promise I'm answering your question. Under Connecticut law, there is always going to be a pharmacist on site in order to operate that store, period. No excuses, no lunch breaks. There is always going to be a pharmacist that's licensed by the state of Connecticut, and that person is going to be known as a key employee. It's a very important term. That person will be in charge of the store for all intents and purposes, and if not in charge of the store itself, will be in charge of the dispensary wing of that facility, which is only for patients. So there is a responsible person in that store at all times, operating that store for patients. Under Connecticut law, we have to have at least 3 dispensary technicians per pharmacist, or up to 3 dispensary technicians per pharmacist. So a dispensary technician assists the pharmacist in pulling all of the medical products, right? So in other words, the only person that's pulling medicine from our vault and providing it to patients either is a licensed pharmacist in Connecticut or is a licensed dispensary technician that's registered with the Department of Consumer Protection. So it's essentially 2 different wings, one exclusively serving patients, sir.
Okay, but there are no other medical personnel in the building, like psychological counselors,
No, sir.
APRNs?
No, but our
Doctors.
pharmacists do conduct medical consultations and patient consultations. We have a dedicated wing for that, absolutely, and that is part of their clear work mandate and experience level. So we routinely see patients come in that are just looking for some basic guidance from a licensed pharmacist, and that's why they're the key employee, because they're responsible to do that. And we take a lot of pride in having a nice private area where people don't have to see that they're having a conversation.
Okay. Any idea of what kind of renters you would consider? Are you restricting the renting of the other two retail areas to certain industries, or would you have any concerns about certain industries coming in there?
No, sir. Admittedly, the rental aspect is not necessarily my total responsibility, sir, but I know that, and we have been forthcoming throughout, our intention and plan is to prioritize small businesses. That was one of the main reasons why we wanted to undertake this initiative and, delay our build out and seek another amended or new special permit. We have no issues with any businesses per se, but our intention has been clear to prioritize local Enfield businesses or Thompsonville businesses, sir.
Okay. I was kind of thinking, would we allow a Munson's candy store?
Candy store? Well, I was
store,
no chicken restaurants. I promise you that.
The candy store probably do good.
Probably. But and lastly, I just want to compliment you on your security. The Munsons was just a thought I had, but
Well, we're open to all suggestions. I mean,
Yeah.
we would like to be collaborative and hear, like, sincere feedback as to how we can do right being a
yeah,
part of this
seems to
community.
me I'd rather see a real estate office or something like that than a candy store, you know what I mean? But, however, the last thing I will say is I will compliment you on your security precautions for the building. It seems very comprehensive to me, based on reading your plan, and it looks like nobody's going to get in there who's not supposed to.
No,
be there.
you would, and I would invite every member of this commission to a tour if they would like to see it throughout build-out. We haven't even talked about the vault. Connecticut is unique, if I may, sir. Connecticut is unique in that the Department of Consumer Protection that regulates cannabis in the state are all licensed pharmacists, which is great because we don't mind playing by the rules and being good operators. But pharmacists have, being regulated by the state-sanctioned pharmacist is great because they view it as a medicine, and that means that the way that it is treated, the way it is dispensed, and the way that it is stored and secured is all incredibly robust and meets or exceeds federal standards. The vault will have motion sensors, seismic readers, motion-activated controls, and that is, of course, totally redundant to the fact that the vault and the server room will have a second totally distinct and redundant security system, which is, frankly, the only time it goes off is if a new general manager forgets to disarm it when they walk into the store. So it's incredibly robust, and I'm happy to talk more and be a consistent form of communication to anyone here in this board or commission.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you, Mr. Kalinsky. Anybody else? Please.
Yeah, I had two things, comments and questions. One was regarding signage. So hearing you talk about the drive-through only for pre-orders, that seems like a pretty clever way to do it. Do you have plans for signage? I didn't notice on the plans any signs depicted, but I think that would be worthwhile to decrease confusion.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I believe we were submitting signs separately, right, sir?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's DCP requirements for cannabis signage that are, I mean, obviously, we're going to comply with both. But there was a depiction, forgive me, there were 12 sheets of the plans. There were plans depicted on, I thought, on one of the sheets, although at the moment, I'm not remembering which one.
While you're looking. If I may, sir, when you were speaking about signage, in which form?
I'm talking like directional signage for vehicle movement within the property, which I don't think would fall under this.
That would not be a DCP requirement,
exactly.
sir. We would of course seek that approval expressly from this commission.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess through the chair to the staff, question for the staff.
Sure.
I think that usually when we're talking about navigational signage, that's usually included in the site plan itself. So maybe we get some clarification, and perhaps we can maybe get a condition added if need be.
There was a comment regarding signage, and I believe the comment also said that it would be a post-approval condition. Forgive me, I'm trying to find it now.
We'll find it tonight.
Yeah. But that was my recollection, that it would be a post-approval condition, that signage would be submitted and then approved at that time.
Staff, can you add on this discussion about the sign?
So there were two things of signage. One was traffic and directional, and typically signage in the conditions of approval is that any business signage should be approved by staff at a later time. So, and the recommendation was that there be some signage on site for directional to the actual drive-through. So I think that we could work that out and make it a condition of approval if you'd like to do that.
Mr. D'Antonio, does that satisfy your?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea, especially given that, the duration of a transaction for a pickup versus a a complete order, waiting, thinking is considerable. I think it would be in everybody's best interest for drive-up customers to be aware that the drive-through is only for pre-orders.
I appreciate the feedback, and my apologies. We had always intended to be seeking that approval after this hearing.
But would you be okay with that condition that
Yeah, certainly. We were planning on seeking your approval anyways,
Great.
sir. That'd be no problem. That wouldn't be an issue, would it, sir?
No.
Okay. And then, if I may, since you're talking about signage, there will be your standard suite of DCP required state signage, which talks about notices that there is camera surveillance in use, that it is illegal to divert product, it's illegal to loiter on the premises, and it is illegal to consume or utilize these products in anywhere but the comfort of your home. Those signs are going to be placed both inside the store and throughout the facility on the sides, so anyone that's walking through the parking lot or certainly going through the drive-through would notice that as well, sir.
Great. Appreciate the clarification.
Mr. Berlinski.
Yeah, just,
You all
just,
set?
Yeah, I did have one more,
Okay,
which
go
was
ahead.
like that comment question-ish. So the lawn area in between, I kind of see that as a and granted, I'm not an engineer, but that seems like it would have been a potential for incorporating low impact development strategies, having drainage, kind of I don't know, it wouldn't quite be a swale, but having some more natural drainage. But I see you kind of drain. You have a storm drain out, so I'm wondering if that was a consideration, and also in terms of landscaping, how do you normally do landscaping in your drive-throughs and your considerations there?
Sure. I don't know how much I can answer your first question, sir, just because I can't speak to drainage or how that's allocated. Kermit, would you be able to do that? No, just for the traffic. I'm sorry, I can't speak to how or why we chose that. It's just not my role, sir. But as far as how we usually do our landscaping, what we found is that everything is so specific to the municipality with the special permit conditions on drive-throughs. We always try to have some form of hedging or low trees that are usually tighter against the facility than putting it outside, right? Just keep in mind, anything that we do, we like to keep low because we do have security cameras in place, and hedges grow kind of fast that we've found. And if you plant a bunch of 6-footers, in a year and a half, all of your big 4-camera dome cameras need to be hedged down. We like to keep them low, and just like we were talking about, it's something that it's able to hold a lot of water and retain it, sir.
I appreciate your honesty.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
okay. You don't have to know everything, but I'm curious, and I gotta ask. We're hoping to redo our regulations through the coming year, and one of the things we'll be emphasizing is low impact development. So we'll be looking to hear from applicants what they're trying to do to improve drainage in more natural ways.
Yeah.
I would just add, I think all those issues were probably addressed in the initial application. The issues of drainage and everything you're talking about.
It changes because they added the drive-through,
Right,
which
but
yeah.
Yeah. A couple of points to address Commissioner D'Antonio's comments. You may not have seen it because we just got them today. The town engineer, John Cabibo, noted that he commented that with the decrease in impervious area, which I previously explained, there's no concern about site detention. There was also a discussion during the administrative review team's meeting back in April. The fire marshal noted that he did not want, or he would prefer not to have mulch in the drive-through because people sometimes, and this is true of drive-throughs in any business, sometimes they throw some smoking materials into the mulch and then there's a fire risk. So he suggested either stone or grass, and as Ryan said, we can certainly incorporate anything that in addition that would be required.
No, I appreciate the context. That's very helpful.
Yeah, we've.
And it's a great concern with the mulch. I've seen and heard of small fires spontaneously combusting because of mulch.
We would happily meet whatever landscaping design criteria that you might have in mind that would be a benefit that would fit within the immediate character on Elm Street. we would love to hear feedback so we can, address concerns. And I'd say I was just there today, and I've been there since we were originally seeking our original special permit hearing. We've had that location under consistent landscaping, getting all the trash picked up, making sure that we're doing it the right way. So, you go there's no trash on the ground right now. We're happy to make any edits. Just please do let us know.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. D'Antonio.
Okay, and just because, I just wanted to make a comment on the traffic to follow up. In our submittal from our staff summarizing this application, it says, the comment from the building department stated accessible parking signage does not meet current statutes, but we can handle that on building permit submittal. So we can either do it that way, or I have no objection to putting a condition on this application as well, if somebody would like to do that. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner DeGray.
Just a couple of questions to clarify. Are you going to have an awning or something to cover the drive-through? I don't remember seeing it on the plans, and I may have missed it. Just because it could be raining, like this afternoon, we had a downpour. You're driving up and...
We don't, sorry, Mayor.
No, go ahead.
Thank you for the question. I appreciate it. We do not usually have awnings over our drive-throughs. It's just we have cameras installed, and I suppose there's no reason that we couldn't add an awning, frankly.
I mean, I'm just asking that question just because of the rain today.
Sure. Usually in a situation like that, we would either provide curbside service or I can't think of a time when we've closed our drive-through due to rain. But I'm happy to talk to our construction team about utilizing an awning. I think the only pressure point would just be from a camera perspective. Sometimes you have to hang awnings a little bit lower, and we put our cameras up, because one, you don't want anyone to be able to jump and touch them, right? So preferably 8 to 9 feet up. But I think that that's something that I can definitely talk with our construction team about, and I'm happy to address a concern like that. So thank you for the feedback.
And my second question, and I just want to be clear on it, in the HVAC section, it mentioned a HEPA-type smoke removal filter.
Mm-hmm.
There's no smoking inside this building, right?
Oh, certainly not. No, that's we have a very robust odor control program. Frankly, it's a bit overkill.
All right.
But that's because we don't cut corners. We do things the right way, and it's our national approved process. The thing about our odor control program is if you make sure that you're doing the maintenance and you're changing the filters, you will not have an odor smell. Frankly, in Connecticut, you're not allowed to open product on property or on site. So if you, said another way, any cannabis that enters that facility for sale and is sitting in our vault, it's never seen the light of day until it goes home and someone opens it up for the first time. It's always been in the darkness.
So it's already been packaged,
Correct.
prepackaged, and okay.
Correct.
All right.
It comes in completely packaged. It leaves completely packaged. So that's really only when you would have smell is when someone was actually consuming it, which is, of course, would never happen on our property, or if they were opening it, which also is not allowed on our property.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions by the commission? Sure, please.
Back to the police question about the traffic. I think their concern, if I'm reading this right, is people coming in the east driveway and trying to make a left into the drive-through. I think that's what their concern was. I think their suggestion is to enter the west driveway as an enter only and exit at the east driveway, just so everything's a right-hand turn into the drive-through and then out of the drive-through. I believe that's how I'm translating that.
Yeah, the response the response I alluded to prior came from the project manager, Aiden Wright. There were two comments by Mr. Matt Meyer of the police department. One was the concern about the turn because of the concern over larger SUVs and pickup trucks that so many folks drive. It was explained that the depicted vehicle is a 19-foot vehicle, which translates, I think, to 225 inches, which is, I remember my late great Chevy Tahoe was 223 inches, and that was pretty big. So that Tahoe would have fit in this drive-through. With the adequate drive-through and turning radius, the preference was to keep it two ways.
Yeah, I think that's what they were alluding to, is that you got people coming in both driveways trying to get in that drive-through at the same time. I mean, and not that you're going to have lines of traffic. Well, you never know, I guess. But I understand what their thought was, though. One way in, one way out. There's no congestion that would be caused at the entrance to your drive-through. I think there's plenty of room for vehicles, but obviously it's just avoiding making that left turn into your drive-through. But I think that's what they were alluding to, really. Just an easy way in, easy way out. That way there's no confusion.
Thank you.
May I just comment that Matt Meyer did sign off on that, so he completed
You did say
it.
that before, that
Yeah,
he decided.
so he seems to be okay with it.
Fire department, did it mention any turning radiuses? I don't see anything here.
No, fire department had no concerns.
No concerns.
Because they usually are the ones that have to have a template, and they would be the ones that would,
I don't think
yeah,
there's any problem with fire trucks.
yep. Well, I don't think they're gonna get anything, not on duty anyway.
Yeah, Mr. Kevin Peritz of the fire marshal said no concerns from fire on a planning standpoint.
That's what I'm reading here.
Yeah. The only fire department input was, as I mentioned to Commissioner D'Antonio, was the concern of not to have mulch.
And that is very true, and it is a big problem throughout the whole mall area.
And that's why we're not going to do it.
Any questions? I have one more. Now that we're dividing this, and it goes kind of to the security, what are you doing for a separation in the wall? What are you using for material? Are you going to be using a solid masonry block reinforced to the bottom of the roof construction?
Yes, sir. So
I didn't see, I'm having trouble loading some of this stuff, but I don't know if it's on there.
no worries. So I can speak to that. The interior vault walls are, when you're constructing a vault wall in Connecticut, the DCP wants to see it 5 times. It's a 0, 25, 50, 75, 100, and then one just to make sure. So the DCP follows us through the construction of the vault. They take pictures and document, so this is what they have. So I believe it's, correct. I believe that it is 8 inches on center. It's 8 inches on center of steel posts with 5/8 inch mesh, 5/8 inch gauge mesh security wire that's attached both to the floor and to the ceiling through posts wrapped around the entire facility. Then it's inspected by the DCP, and then it is drywalled. Then it is inspected again with security devices attached to it.
Okay, so away from the vault, what I was really getting to is the actual separation of the tenant spaces.
Oh, the tenant spaces?
Right. I appreciate the vault question, and I think we got a good
Sure.
explanation on your first go-around, but now that we're separating the tenant spaces, what are you going to go with on that separation? So somebody can't enter easily from the other
certainly.
use.
Yeah, the DCP will require us to go all the way up to the rafters to separate that out. Yes, sir.
That would be with something similar to the vault, or not?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Not just where somebody can punch through a sheetrock.
No, and that we would never operate like that, sir. Allow someone to possibly be in our attic.
It is a change, and that's
Absolutely.
most of the time it's in these buildings it's different. So I'm looking at you as like a bank,
No, and
separation from a bank.
I very much appreciate the question. I'm sorry I immediately started thinking about how the product was secured.
No, I remember the vault store. We talked in depth about the vault, and I was very impressed with it. But yeah, now
Apologies.
we're separating, and we're going to have
So
right
in-
next to it is going to be another use.
In a situation like that, sir, where the DCP would inspect the rafters and make sure that we sealed off all the way up to the top, there's also any number of motion sensors and seismic sensors that detect motion at any time when that facility is closed and locked up. And that's done on two completely distinct redundant security systems, sir. So you would not be able to get in, you wouldn't be able to enter, regardless of whether you're on our sales floor or in the attic. You wouldn't be able to get onto our facility, and certainly not without tripping every motion camera, sensor, and access control device that we have, sir.
Perfect. And you know this is new to us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so not that we're trying to beat you up here, but
No, I'm happy for the questions. I'm a little embarrassed I started talking about the vault.
no, it's okay. I like the vault too.
I love the vault.
So the other thing I had is modification. So we understand that everything that was in place on the initial permit, the initial application, remains, specifically to the site plan and the site plan improvements, and then specifically to the grease trap that still sits in there. That was one of the conditions of approval. If you look at the conditions,
Yeah, the
we want to make
existing-
sure you don't forget to take that grease trap out.
No, that was a condition of the original approval,
Right.
and I spoke with Aiden Wright, the project manager, about that. He thinks he's found it. It hid itself quite well for a long time, but he believes he's found it, and that's going to be removed.
Well, and that's the key word, long time, and it's been there a long time, so we need to get it out.
Okay.
Thank you for that, sir.
You're
Just
welcome.
wanted to remind you.
Yep.
I'm all set. Anybody else have any other questions? We're good? Okay, this is a public hearing.
Mr.
So-
Chairman, do you want
Please.
staff report on this at all?
Yeah, oh, yes, I'm sorry. You were so quiet over there, I forgot all about you.
Do you need an explanation as to why the drive-through is permitted based on my memo? I'll go through it, but if you're all okay with it, then
I think we asked a lot of questions, and as long as if it wasn't permitted, I'm sure you would tell us.
perfect. I like that answer. So I just, there were, as Attorney Curto alluded to, there were some comments that we received today. One was from Craig Perry with WPC. Speaking of grease traps, may be required depending on the tenant's business, such as food service. So there may be required grease traps.
Not the one that's there.
Not the one that's there.
That's getting ganked. Okay.
And John Kabibo, our assistant town engineer, did say that the standard notes should be added to the plans, along with a detailed pavement cross-section detail for the proposed drive-through lane, and we should probably also add that landscaping shall not utilize mulch as conditions of approval. And if you're good with everything else, then I'm done.
Okay, so I'm going to ask if there's anybody in the public at this point that would like to come up. You can sit there for now, you may not have to get up, we'll see. If there's anybody in the public at this time that would like to come up and speak for or against this application that's before us. For the second time, so you guys are going to have to excuse me and let this gentleman sit down. Don't go too far. Good evening, sir. Name and address for the record.
My name is Christopher Karpenko. I'm at 167 Abbey Road here in Enfield. The only comment I want to make is these guys won't be popular, like me very much, but marijuana and cannabis is a gateway drug that leads often to people to use drugs that are worse and worse and worse in terms of addictions. So as I say that, I would be opposed to any cannabis and marijuana facility here in the town of Enfield.
We appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Anybody else in the audience would like to speak for or against this application? For or against, to come up and speak? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public participation part of it. Gentlemen, would you like to come back up? All right, so at this point, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion, please. No discussion? Okay, Mr. Chair, I entertain a motion to approve. Mr. Secretary, I'm sorry. Please, roll call vote.
Frank Alamo,
4.
Linda DeGray.
4.
Kenneth Helinski.
4.
Vinnie Grillo. 4. Joseph Muley.
4.
Christian D'Antonio. Or who's on this?
Walter.
No, I'm sorry, Walter. Walter Cruzel. I'm sorry.
4.
And John Petronella is 4.
Very good. Unanimous. Congratulations. Welcome. We welcomed you to Enfield before. Welcome again.
That's only
Thank
public.
you very much,
That was
Mr.
just-
Chairman.
I'm
Close the
sorry.
public hearing.
I'm sorry. Now we'll entertain a motion to approve. Unless anybody's got anything else.
I do have, before we entertain that motion, I have a question for staff through the chair. We talked about a condition also about navigational signage, directional signage within the property
So there
to be
actually
worked
is
out
some,
with staff.
there is actually some signage on the sheets, C200 and C800. So they do actually have signage and signage proposed. So, and we can work with the applicant if it's not quite,
So we're all set without,
I believe we're good.
okay, all right. And then we have 3 added conditions here that you sent me here. Okay. With that, I'd like to make a motion to approve public hearing number 3104, 98 Elm Street, application for special use permit for a drive-through and modifications to allow 2 additional tenants. Willowbrook Enfield LLC applicant, Elm Street Enfield LLC owner, map 43, lot 27, BR zone with 24 conditions listed plus 3 additional conditions. We'll enter the 3 additional ones in. Per WPC, grease traps may be required depending upon tenant's business such as food service. Next condition would be the standard town note should be added to the plans along with detailed pavement cross-section detail to the proposed drive-through lane. Next added condition would be landscaping shall not utilize mulch or wood products.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Yep, Frank Alimo,
4.
Linda DeGray,
4.
Kenneth Helinski,
4.
Vincent Grillo, 4. Joseph Muley,
4.
Walter Cruzel,
4.
and John Petronella is 4.
Very good. Motion passes. All
7-0.
4, none against. Thank you very much. Again, welcome
Thank
to
you,
Enfield.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
And if I could also second what Ryan said earlier, I want to thank both the planner and assistant planner because they were both very helpful in guiding us through this. So
That's
I
very
really
good.
appreciate
Glad
it.
that they're
And thank you, you've been great to work with and very patient with us as well.
over here.
Appreciate that.
So at this time, if I could, I'd like to entertain a motion for a 5-minute recess. Second, please. Motion made and seconded. All in favor, 5-minute recess? See you in 5. Use the elevator. Call the meeting back to order. Planning and zoning meeting of September 26, 2024. We're back in order. Okay. Next up is PH 3105. Mr. Secretary, please.
The Enfield Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing at the regular meeting of Thursday, September 26, 2024, at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Council Chambers, 820 Enfield Street, Enfield, Connecticut, concerning the following application. Public hearing number 3105, 140 Brewster Road, application for a special use permit to park a commercial vehicle per section 3.30.11 or 13. Lorenzo and Hannah Lewis, owner applicant, map 111, lot 158, R33 zone.
Good evening. Name and address for the record, please.
Lorenzo Lewis, 140 Brewster Road in Enfield, Connecticut.
Hannah Lewis, 140 Brewster Road, Enfield, Connecticut.
Welcome. Staff, would you like to give us a little overview of this application?
Sure. So the applicant is here tonight requesting special permit approval to park a commercial vehicle per section 3.30.13. In my staff memo, I went through the regulations for you. My comments are in red. There was no proposed screening on the applicant's plan, but he is amenable to installing screening should the commission decide to require screening as a condition. The truck is not present during the day. As the applicant stated, he leaves early in the morning for work and does not return until evening. The property is a corner lot with the driveway furthest away from the neighbor. The fourth page of my staff report shows some Google review images from the street view, just giving you an idea of how far the driveway is from any neighbors, since it's on a corner lot. I had no departmental comments from other departments. All their concerns have been satisfied. The normal site specifics come into play here for no hazardous materials or waste. This approval is only for this specific vehicle, and that the vehicle can only be owned or operated by the permanent resident of the property. No maintenance or repair of the vehicle shall be allowed, and the vehicle must remain unloaded and parked at the residence. The only issue that I had found during my review was the fact that the truck has 3 axles, where our regulations say that no vehicle shall have more than 2 axles. And that's pretty much all I have.
Thank you. Good evening. So, want to tell us a little bit about your application here tonight, sir?
Hi. So, yes, we're still fairly new to Enfield. You know, we've lived here just over a year. And I want to first apologize to all of you. I would have submitted this application before I even bought the truck and brought it home, had I known this was required by this town. I bought the truck on 6/8 and brought it home that day, and I noticed the complaint that went in was 6/11, and I was like, man, like, if only I knew, but no one said anything till the end of August, so that brings us here. I pretty much, I just started this LLC. You have to have to buy a truck. I don't know if you're familiar. You have to have an LLC. I'm a 2-year seasoned truck driver, so this is my first time buying a truck ever. My LLC address is my residential address. However, there's no business conducted there. So I pretty much, the way it works is I park my truck there, and as Miss Georgie said, I leave in the morning. I come back earliest, sometimes around noon. The latest, usually it's like 6 p.m., 7. But there's no like in and out. There's no loading, anything like that. There's no maintenance. It's literally parked in the back of the driveway daily. And that's 6 days a week that I go to work. I pick up a trailer in Bloomfield, Connecticut. I drive all over Massachusetts, sometimes Rhode Island, sometimes Connecticut, sometimes I deliver in Enfield, and then I come home.
So basically, it's your employment.
Yeah, it's essentially my employment. So like the LLC is kind of like a face. It's not really like I'm pretty much a 1099 employee. I'm subcontracted to RXO, who subcontracts to Home Depot. to pull those loads and do deliveries. But otherwise, this is just me going to work. I get up every morning about 3:45. I leave. I literally go outside, start the truck, leave within 3 minutes. It's about like 4:05 in the morning, right after my neighbor leaves for work, and then I come back anywhere between 12 and 7 p.m.
I don't think we have a photo of the truck itself, do we?
I think I submitted some photos. I also submitted a plot plan that shows exactly where
Oh,
it's
yeah,
parked.
I've seen that. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And as Ms. Georgie said, like, it seems like the only thing that it wasn't like a satisfied based on your regulations. It has a second set of drive tires, which most trucks nowadays do. So I
was going to ask you about those. Are those the kind that you put down only if you need them?
No, so it's not like a dump truck where you can adjust or like I'm doing heavy hauling or anything like that. It's just it's a regular day cab tractor.
No sleeper.
No sleeper or anything like that. So it doesn't take up much space. And the difference between that and a day cab tractor that has one set of drive tires is literally 2 feet. Just that set of tires. So I park it basically partially underneath our carport, and that's pretty much my.
So you put the back wheels under the carport?
Yeah.
So only the cab is sticking out?
Yeah.
Any questions? Oop, he had his hand up first. Good.
All right, just, do you ever bring or have any intentions to add something? The truck itself is kind of max to me right now.
Yeah.
Anything else on top of that?
No.
For any reason whatsoever, do you ever have to come in with a trailer, something on the back of it?
No, and that's a good concern. The only time I've
huge
ever
concern.
The only time I've ever brought my truck with a trailer on it was I was delivering my own rocks from Harkins in East Windsor. I picked up the rocks on the flatbed because I pay rent for those vehicles, those Moffett and forklift from Home Depot. So the Moffett and the flatbed from Home Depot. So I literally picked up my own rocks and brought them, and I dropped them with the Moffett. And that was the only time and that was way back in June. But I would never, there's no like attachments that are permanently fixed that I would bring back to my property. Nope. If I were to even buy or rent my own trailer that I carry home every day, it could not go. We don't have the space. So I just wouldn't do it. Even if I were to buy another truck, I couldn't bring that home. We just don't have the space. Our property is perfect for what we do. That would be it.
I understand. The only thing that's just the you don't have any special things on that truck that make it that much louder. The air
No, it's got so like I said, it's on for a total of 3 minutes in the morning. You start the truck, it builds its own air. I'm sure you guys are familiar with how air brakes work. Builds its own air. Once that's full, I take off because it just has to build. But it's on for a total of 3 minutes. Warms a little bit. I take off. There's no extra noise, nothing like that. I think one day we stood at because our property is so big. We tried to stand at the other side of the fence, and I was over there talking to my neighbor Austin, and it's there's no you can't really hear.
You understand though your neighbor's concerns.
Yeah.
It's a diesel. It's 4 a.m. in the morning. That
absolutely.
Winters. I understand right now. You just bought the truck.
Yeah.
You start it. You're out. Winter's coming. If you never owned one before, but you drive now, you're not starting it and just pulling out.
No.
So that's the idling is the only. Really, the truck itself. Look, you own it's a business. You got to make a living too. You don't have a trailer. It's no bigger than my truck, realistically.
Yeah.
Except yours is taller.
A little bit taller, yeah. Same kind of
as
engine.
far as the length, most trucks are. It's the idling for your neighbors. I mean, you gotta respect the neighbors.
Absolutely.
At 4 a.m. in the morning.
100%. And so that's why I try to keep it as as minimal as possible. That's why I said 3 minutes is my max. But I literally start the truck. Once the air's up, I'm gone, and it's a very quick process. I think if I check my Ring camera, because we have surveillance all over the property, it's probably less than 3 minutes. But I'm just saying 3 minutes because it's usually what I look at. When I get outside, it's 4:05, and I'm usually out by 4:08.
Commissioner DeGray. You're welcome.
My big concern is it's a diesel. My late husband was a truck driver. I know it has to run, especially in the winter to warm it up. There's smells. And I did go by your property, and there's basically 4 houses surrounding you. And across both streets are bedroom windows. And in the winter, they're going to hear it. And the exhaust smells, even though you're saying, oh, I'm only 3 minutes. Not in the winter. Sorry, you can't do that. I also ride a motorcycle that's loud. And when I have to leave early in the morning, I roll it all the way out into the street before I'll even start it so I don't wake my neighbors because of bedrooms being close by. So I really, have you looked into another place to park it during the winter so that you won't be disturbing your neighbors at 4 o'clock? Because everybody has a right to live in a calm, quiet neighborhood.
Certainly.
And I believe there's a place down on Depot Hill Road for trucks to be parked overnight.
I have not found another place to party, but where we live is very truck friendly. Down the street, I believe it's North Street. There's a gentleman. He has a bunch of big trucks that he parks right there. Martin Brower's 2 minutes away. So like the sound coming from my vehicle is no different than any sound that they hear from like just crossing by every night. Like when I'm leaving, oftentimes like a Martin Brower truck is going by at the same time. So like, and it's the same relative
They're going
distance.
by. They're not sitting there idling. And that's a
perfectly.
whole different issue. I mean,
Right.
if I
And
were to start my motorcycle and idle it in the driveway, I'm sure my neighbors would be knocking on my door screaming.
Oh, for sure. And like I said, like I don't idle like that. I can't speak for the winter right now but like I don't foresee myself idling longer than I do right now, just because that's not something like I as a company driver I was before. I didn't idle that crazy, and the way I operate right now is a way to not disturb my neighbors, so that, get off the street and go do what I have to do, get to my destination to get my trailer. And then most of the idling I do in pre-tripping is at Home Depot FDC in Bloomfield, which is 20 minutes away. So I don't waste the time like idling in my driveway anyway, on a regular basis.
Commissioner Cluzel.
Thank you.
Yep.
So I see you use the DEF fuel on it too, right?
Yes, so it is a DEF. It does use DEF, yes.
Rudolph Diesel's rolling in his grave. But anyway, and exhaust goes down underneath. There's no stacks.
Yep, exhaust is underneath, no stacks.
Too. So that's a plus. Sure is. And the diesel sounds the best sound. I love the diesel sound. So.
It's not bad. I think
always owned a diesel till recently.
My daughter's window is, I don't know if you see from our home pictures, my daughter's window is right above, and she's 1 year old. She just turned 16 months.
The smell of diesel is the cleanest exhaust. It's cleaner than a car exhaust. So.
Yeah.
All set, Walter?
I'm all set.
Staff has something?
I just have a question for the applicant. I'm trying to find a solution for the noise. You mentioned that you operate around 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Is that time flexible? Is there a way you could operate maybe during like 7 a.m. instead of 4?
So I usually I leave anywhere. It's not a set 4, but like I leave anywhere between 4 and 7. It's just the most times I leave at 4 or 5.
Out of curiosity, would you still be able to do your business if you followed the noise ordinance and instead of leaving at 4, you left at 7?
Currently, no. That's something I can discuss with my contract. That's something I can discuss with my contract to see if they could provide me loads that leave later. I'd certainly be willing to do that.
Okay, because I'm just trying to brainstorm some possible solutions with respect to the neighborhood and the community in that area. Our daytime hours for our noise ordinance is between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday. So I'm not sure if this could work depending on the applicant's job and whatnot, but maybe down the road, or we could discuss adding a condition of approval where the truck can be operated during normal noise ordinance times versus starting at 4 in the morning. And if that is something that the commission and the applicant would like to consider, maybe we should continue this application to give the applicant some time to ask his contractor or his job if that would be permissible. Just a thought.
Does the noise ordinance cover idling vehicles, or just like work, chainsaws, construction work?
So there's different types. There's the construction facility noise ordinance, and then just noise in general. Noise created
Is it
by.
specific? I thought it was specific to like, if you're,
There's different types. There's
can you elaborate a
1,
little
2,
bit?
3. Yeah, I can read them all out for you. The following shall be exempt. Oh, wait, hang on a second. Let me find it. Hang on. Wait. To be honest, I haven't read this until now, so if you'd come back to me later, I can read through it and try and find it.
The other two things on the table tonight that we have to be concerned about is the length of the extra axle, right? And, that was it. No, and screening were the two things.
Right.
Axle and screening were the two things that are on the table, really,
Yep, the screening.
biggest issues.
Yeah, the screening, the axle, and the noise.
Was noise part of the narrative?
Not that I remember seeing, no.
No, I didn't see that. Noise is just something that's come up now.
Yeah,
It's just come up now. We haven't. Sorry to interrupt.
I've seen screening and the axle.
I was just bringing up the noise because since the applicant submitted his application throughout time, we received 2 letters via email from 2 public members. They were on your desk tonight. Each letter is front and back, just addressing their concerns about the application. So that's what led me to dig into the noise ordinance and see if there was a way to resolve that issue.
Okay, we'll come back to Commissioner Muley, please.
So that truck is a newer truck?
2018.
So it has the regen muffler system and stuff on it probably?
So, yes, but mine does rolling regens, yeah.
Okay. So those mufflers are a lot quieter than the older trucks and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. It's like small.
At our business, we have them, and you can stand next to them while they're running and have a conversation.
Yeah, it's quieter than like your lawnmower, if
they're
that
much
makes
quieter.
sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure how old the truck was. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for that. Hey, Walter.
And going back to 2 weeks ago, the gentleman on North Road wanted to start early because, again, he wants to beat the traffic out. He wants to get to his loads, and he's got work to do, not sit in traffic all,
Right.
7 o'clock. You already got rush hour. You got 91s backed up already. I mean, true. So if we let it go 2 weeks ago, I don't think the hours apply to here. So
He does have to pick up his.
he's got to go pick up his load. He's not going to bring a trailer home.
Yeah.
So we got that part, and I mean it's like a box truck. We got the extra axle, but I've never seen a tractor trailer without 3 axles anyway. So. Or cab and chassis. So.
And I do appreciate that, having a 1-year-old at home, and we will be having a baby pretty much any day. I would appreciate if he would be home earlier and not at 7 o'clock at nighttime before our kids, are in bed. So I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Linsky.
Yes, I have a question for staff through the chair. I know you mentioned the noise, but do you have a chart that shows decibel levels allowed?
Yeah, so
Okay, how does the normal diesel
It's right at
trailer
the
truck-
max. The max. It's right at the max. The max.
Right at the max, but
Yep,
it does
which
not
is
exceed the max.
No, it's 100 decibels is the max, and the diesel truck is right at 100.
Okay. So I think the sports car that goes down my street at 5 o'clock in the morning is about that decibel level myself.
That's why I wanted to know a little more about the noise ordinance, because I know there's a lot to it.
Yeah, so far from what I've seen, it's just normal. It's kind of separated. You have the recreational vehicles, the construction vehicles, you have your normal exemptions, normal industrial zones, and the residential decibel chart. But other than that, I can't find anything else where this diesel truck would kind of fall into that noise ordinance.
Now, what is a regular car? Do they have regular cars on?
Regular car is about 65. Let me find that chart again.
Okay, how about a pickup truck or something like that?
You're testing me now. Hang on.
I'm just trying to get a
Hang
idea.
on. Give me 1 second.
He's got the newer exhaust.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get
So,
a comparison.
Washing machines are 70 decibels.
What is
No
it?
kidding.
Washing machines are 70. New cars are around 72. Car stereos are between 75 to 80. Food blenders are 85. Those pickup trucks are about 90, and motorcycles are 95 to 110 decibels, depending on what they are. So his diesel truck actually has the same decibel equivalent to a snowmobile or a school dance of a boombox. So, just some.
Okay, well, that kind of puts it in perspective, I think.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the last minute research.
Happy to help.
Mr. Chair, I got a question.
Commissioner Petronella, please.
Yeah, what's the weight on this vehicle fully loaded?
Fully loaded?
What can it carry?
Oh, I can carry 80,000 pounds.
Okay.
I thought you meant like, is it, no.
So 80,000 pounds, and that's what we're looking at over here. So you're going to have a whole neighborhood full of tractor trailer trucks if we let this thing go. To respond to Mr. Crizel's point about 117 North Street, that's an industrial zone. We're talking about a residential zone.
It's a mile apart.
Yeah, forgive me, it's literally
a use that's in an industrial area.
Mile away,
zone.
not even.
Yeah, I would have to have the
miles,
trailer
to
to
be
carry
honest
that
with you.
weight, though, if that makes any sense.
This is a
and
residential zone with a couple of hundred houses.
But 80,000 pounds is the trailer. He's not having a trailer.
I would have to have a 53-foot trailer that is packed to the max.
There's two things in the zoning ordinance that this thing violates. 3.30.13 A, Roman numeral 2, C, and 3.30.13 B.
Wait, Mr. Petronella, actually does not violate section A.2.C because the unloaded weight is only 17,900 pounds.
That's on my vehicle registration as well.
The gross vehicle weight should be the loaded weight, what this thing can carry loaded.
Forgive me, but that is incorrect. I will never have 80,000 pounds on my property, so I would not fill out a special permit to have 80,000 pounds on my property.
I'm not saying, I'm telling you what the truck's capable of carrying, which delineates the size of the truck.
Right. If I'm understanding the document correctly, I believe it's referring to the unladen weight, which is 17,900 pounds.
That's how much the truck weighs.
Yeah, correct.
I'm talking about what's the gross vehicle weight rating loaded. What can it carry loaded legally?
The maximum I can carry is 80,000.
80,000 pounds.
Yeah, correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's understanding with the trailer axles, but without the trailer axles, the truck is rated for probably a little bit less, but which exceeds the 26,000 pounds. That's how I'm viewing it anyway.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not sure what I would be rated without a trailer to carry, because I have to have something attached to the fifth wheel to carry something.
Understood.
Sorry.
Understood.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, though, we're not anticipating, or staff, you can use. So we're not anticipating, nor is he asking to put that trailer there.
No, just
No,
the cab.
Never. I would never have a trailer at
Get to that
parked
to
at our
exceed
house.
the weight.
No, it wouldn't even. I have nowhere to put a trailer. It would not. I'd never have a trailer at our house.
John,
But,
does that help?
but why not? I hear all the concerns are all about noise. Trailer doesn't make any noise. So let them have a trailer. I'm being sarcastic.
No. I got you.
I'm done.
No, I want you to be satisfied with his explanation.
I'm definitely open to any questions, but I want to address that concern. I would never have 80,000 pounds at 140 Brewster Road. There's just no reason for it. My vehicle is rated for that. That's just what it has the ability to carry, but I would never have that.
Commissioner DeGray has a comment.
I do agree with Commissioner Petronella. We haven't a reason why we don't allow tractors in neighborhoods, and it's because of the noise and the fact that they're neighborhoods. There's kids playing in the street, and it's against our ordinance. And it does specify, even though everybody's saying, well, he's not bringing the trailer home. But it says, no commercial vehicle shall exceed 2,600 pounds gross vehicle weight. Gross vehicle weight, as Commissioner Petronella said, is with the trailer. So staff says, oh, no, well, we're just talking about the tractor. Okay, he's saying, I'm never gonna bring home a trailer.
Well, then he would be in violation and cited.
And but the thing is we don't allow tractors in neighborhood.
What do we have for police comments on this?
And it has 3 axles, and we don't allow those either. So
Let's review traffic's.
The police comment says, I recommend that the truck be limited to parking only in the location noted in the photograph so that it does not affect intersection sightlines. Parking on the roadway is prohibited under Town Ordinance 82-42, and then he completed his review.
Okay, so he's not stating any of the concerns that we're bringing up. This is the traffic division. About the trucks driving through well, you just said about him driving through the neighborhood.
right, but he's only stating that obstructing view. That's all he's concerned about.
And he's saying that it can't park on the street. But you mentioned him driving down the street. You said it's a neighborhood. He's driving down.
It is.
But the police aren't saying anything about the truck driving down the street.
We don't allow tractors in neighborhoods for a reason. And it's the noise, the aesthetic of the neighborhood, and
So you're saying a tractor trailer can't drive down that street?
it can to deliver something and then go away. It's,
Mr. Chairman.
People have a right for peaceful enjoyment of their property. That's what I'm saying.
Commissioner Cluzo.
Back to a box truck is one registered box truck. You're talking about the cab has its registration and the trailer has its registration. So the cab is only 17,900 pounds, period. Who cares about the trailer? He's not bringing a trailer. It's a different registration. It's registered separately. We're only talking about the cab.
Do you have something, Lori?
So the gross vehicle weight is the weight, I just Googled this, is the weight of a vehicle when it's fully loaded, including the weight of the vehicle itself, passengers, cargo, fuel, and any additional equipment or accessories. Our regulation says that you can have a commercial vehicle exceeding the requirements referred to in paragraph 1, which is 11,000 pounds, may be parked and/or garaged on a lot subject to special permit standards and procedures as such, with the following conditions. And one of them is that no commercial vehicle shall exceed 26,000 pounds gross vehicle weight. And in the document here, it does say 80,000 pounds for gross vehicle weight. And again, I feel for you, and I really think that I want you to be successful, but the regulations are sort of specific. No vehicle shall have more than 2 axles. And I think that the gross vehicle weight is based on the fact that if it can pull that much weight, it's probably a stronger vehicle and probably louder, is my guess. And I'm not a vehicle aficionado or expert by any means, but it sounds like you all have more knowledge than both of us do. So I'm just going by what it says in the regulations. Our job is to enforce the regulations as best we can.
So it's not just the screening and the axle, you're saying?
I believe
But I
that.
read in Georgie's report here, we were just concerned about axle and screening from the initial staff report.
But
yeah, I was not aware that the gross vehicle weight of
It's
what
in
I
the
could have
regulations.
was something to
But it's not in
concern.
the staff report. I wasn't ready for it.
It is in the staff report, but that might have been my mistake misinterpreting it then, because I took that as 17,900 gross vehicle weight when in the driveway. I didn't take it as in fully loaded, so
You put satisfied.
yeah, because that was my interpretation, but I guess after tonight, that interpretation was incorrect.
So-
The regulations make it a little bit unclear.
Ambiguous.
Yeah. It's hard to determine which one they're talking about, or if they're talking about both together. So, but I just based on the Google definition, I would think that it's the whole thing.
It would be easier if our regulations defined gross vehicle weight.
So that is for sure. You guys are interpreting the regulation is written as what I can carry, not what I would be parking there.
Well, it says no commercial vehicle shall exceed 26,000 pounds gross vehicle weight. And the gross vehicle weight is based on the full load, according to that definition.
I
can't say it's from DOT.
find that weird to enforce with. If it's something I don't have, I
I
find
think
that
it's based on the strength of the vehicle, and the strength of the vehicle would probably depend on how noisy it is.
I think if he wants to, I think we have somebody that's in the industry, Commissioner Millet, can you add to this? And we're lucky to
Yeah,
have somebody on the board that
I'm at a
knows
loss.
about
That's-
trucks.
The way it works is the vehicle is registered for its own weight, the tractor, which is 17 and change.
Yeah.
DOT requires you to put what the tractor and trailer can haul as a gross vehicle weight on there. That's what that 80,000 pounds is, and some actually more, depending on length of trailer and permits and stuff. So for us to have a gross vehicle weight requirement there, this would apply to more of a box truck that is a big unit that doesn't pull a trailer.
which is what I also think of, because those usually say GVV.
So technically, I mean, I've done this for years. It was my job for 30 years and still is. Our trucks, you have to register them for the weight that they are. And then the DOT requires what that truck can pull, it be posted on the door as a gross vehicle weight. So he's got a registered vehicle of 17,000 pounds. That's what he's looking to park in his driveway. I think our regulations are stretching into territory that they shouldn't be. That's my personal opinion, professional opinion.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for the clarification.
And I second it.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about screening. Staff? Screening?
The applicant wasn't proposing any, but I mentioned it when he dropped off the application, and he had seemed favorable. If the commission required screening, he will do screening.
And there was some height requirements, and so on screening, how high we could have the screen, wasn't there?
Yep, he is a corner lot, so he would just have to do some kind of shrubs or fencing that would satisfy the corner lot requirements for fencing and shrubs, but that's pretty much it.
Mr. Kuzel?
You can't have a fence higher than 6 feet, so what good is a fence?
So it's weird because the corner lot, he's got this corner triangle where 50 feet exists from the intersection going in both directions. That triangle has to be 3 feet. Anything after that triangle is allowed to be 6 feet. So screening is a little bit difficult for this because he'd have essentially 3-foot shrubs in the front area and then, or a 3-foot fence, and then can go back to the normal 6-foot height after the 50-foot intersection of that triangle.
So he's got to go from 3 to 6.
Yep,
It's got to taper.
essentially.
Would that be the same if I used shrubs? Sorry, I was loud.
Yes, it accounts for
It would
shrubs,
still
fences,
be 3
yeah.
to 6.
It's
Okay.
because of the sight lines.
Okay. It couldn't just be 6 straight. Okay.
Outside of that triangle, you could have whatever height you want of shrubs. It's just
Okay.
fencing is maximum 6 feet, gesundheit. If it's more than that, you need to get a building permit.
Understood. Okay.
And I think the max then is 8.
8. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, question for staff through the chair. Do we have any other trucks parked in neighborhoods that we have approved?
I did do a search. I couldn't find any that also had 3 axles. All the trucks that the commission has approved in the past have been like normal box trucks. Some have been taller than the applicant's cab. Some have been wider. They're all different in their own nature and way. Each of them were for different businesses, different uses. But I believe this would be one of the first ones that would have like a 3 axle. I haven't seen any, unless I've missed it, I haven't seen any from our past records, commercial vehicles that had 3 axles. vehicles that were approved.
Okay. And I think you mentioned there was a neighbor that had trucks in his.
Yeah, I was talking about North Street, but then someone mentioned that that's an industrial area. But
Okay.
North Street it's literally a minute.
Okay,
It's-
I was just
yeah.
curious. 'Cause-
And then
Okay,
like
so
Martin Brower down the
to
street.
our knowledge, then, we have never approved a tractor-trailer type.
Well, we've never had an application for a cab besides this one. This is the first one.
Okay.
I don't know if this might help or not, but I did a quick measurement from Taylor Road to the applicant's house is about 1,396 feet. I'm sorry, I totally messed that up. Hang on a second. Give me one moment, please. I was just doing measurements for how far the truck drives down Sheridan Road until it gets to Taylor Road, where the industrial section is. 1,390 feet of roadway is what he drives from.
Mr. Chair?
Sure, Mr. Petrino.
Yeah, I got a question to staff through the chair. On Roman numeral 13, it says, I need some clarification on this. It says, no tractor trailer nor the tractor or the trailer shall be parked in a residential district at any time in the connection with a moving operation. I'm not exactly sure what that means. A little bit confused.
So I believe, good thing we're redoing our regs. So that one is specific with a moving operation. I can only imagine that that would be for like, it could be interpreted as like a moving business or an applicant or a resident moving into a home. I wish it was better worded. Maybe we can make a note for reg rewrites, but that's pretty much what staff would interpret it as.
At this time, I'd like to pause and open it up to the public. I want to hear, I know we had some letters. We'll see if there's anybody in the public that wants to talk to us. Just sit there for a second. Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak for or against this application? Anybody in the public that would like to speak for or against this application can come forward at this time. For the third time, is there anybody in the public that would like to speak for or against this application? Okay, I don't see anybody coming up, so we'll move beyond public comment and continue with the hearing. I'm not ready to close the public hearing yet. So I'm still struggling here, and I'm reading planning's comments, back to what we said before. Talking about the axle and the screening. And then I look back down again to the police comments. And he's recommending that the truck be limited to park in the location noted in the photographs so that it does not affect the intersection or sight line. So the officer is saying that truck's, in the photographs we have, it's not going to affect the intersection, it's not going to affect the sight line. And then he goes on to say, to remind us that parking in the roadway is prohibited under town ordinance. So I always err to, safety is my big thing. And I said it before, and I'll say it again, I always look to department comments. So, I mean, if the police officer comments were different, I would be 100% no. That's where I would be, because they're the professionals.
Absolutely.
So, again, I'm drawing my attention to the axles and the screening. The gross weight, we know, so we have two different, there's two, it's right and wrong. We know he's not gonna bring the trailer in. He's only gonna have what is registered on that truck. Like Commissioner Wheeler was saying, it's registered as a certain weight, but then it's tagged to what he can pull. So for me, when you're driving down a highway and you see the truck areas where they have to go get weighed and they're pulled off the road and all that measurements they do, I think that kind of pertains more to that if you're hauling down the road, you better not be over the 80,000 or whatever it says you can pull. And again, I'm not in the profession, but I'm just, as a layperson, determining, and seeing it on a highway when you see truck stops, they all pull off. I'm sure they're looking for that and other things. But if he's going down the road without the trailer, does he have to pull off to get weighed? Mr. Muley, do you know that answer to that?
Technically, no. I'm sorry. Technically, no, to my knowledge, but I know our company, we tell them to go in anyway. But they're not, usually they're pulling trailers, but occasionally if they're coming back from maintenance stuff and they go by a weigh station, we always tell them to pull in just to avoid. But technically, no, he wouldn't have to because he's not pulling a load.
Right.
Sometimes it's just better to avoid them coming after you. But yeah,
But
he's
you'll
right.
get waved through, probably.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you're not pulling it, they're gonna wave you through.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah.
This is a tough one too, and we have a person sitting before us that, this is his livelihood, this is how he makes his money, this is his job. The other thing that's weighing on me.
Mr. Chair, yeah, if I may, the traffic comments from the police, they're not commenting on whether this meets the zoning requirements or not. He's just looking at it from a safety aspect. It's got nothing to do with zoning, whether it meets any of that criteria.
No, he's not talking about zoning, he's talking about safety.
And in my experience, and I had a Class 1 license for well over 30 years and did plenty of driving. A truck is identified by its gross vehicle weight rating, and that's it. Period. I've never heard of it identified as how much does it weigh, but it's identified as the gross vehicle weight rating. And when you go to buy a truck, and you're buying it based upon that because you want to know what you can pull with it, what you can haul, what you can pull. This particular truck is just about the heaviest truck you can get. If it's rated for 80,000 pounds, yes, you can get them a little bit heavier and so forth. But again, going down this rabbit hole, you're going to see applicant after applicant buying houses in that neighborhood, looking to park their trucks there because they're in the same position that he's in. I just can't do that. I mean, you're talking about the people that live there. You're talking about people have a right to have good quality of life. There's got to be some consideration for it's an eyesore. I'm not sure that it can be screened, and I just don't feel that it's appropriate for this heavy residential area at all. I really don't. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
please,
if I may. I'm thinking about our position in as a planning and zoning commission. We fall somewhere between the town representing the town, townspeople, businesses, everybody. And you are both business and a townsperson. We absolutely want businesses to succeed. I'm thinking about the defensibility of us approving this, and frankly, our regulations are pretty explicit about not allowing tractor trailers, even the cabs, in residential areas. The gross vehicle weight, even is kind of an irrelevant point to our regulations. It's got 3 axles. Our regulations say it shall not have more than 2 axles. Our regulations say no tractor trailer, nor the tractor or the trailer shall be parked in a residential district at any time except in connection with a moving operation. This is not a moving operation. I think that it's pretty clear. I hate to say it. We're not saying you have to shut down your business, but for all the bad that zoning can do, zoning regulations, there are some good to it, and frankly, limiting tractor trailers in residential neighborhoods is a very arguably good of zoning regulations. So I mean, if we were to approve this, could an upset neighbor sue the town and almost certainly win? I don't see how we could defend it in court based on our own regulations, unfortunately. So I'm not going to be voting on this, and I absolutely want you to succeed, and I applaud your entrepreneurship, and please continue your trucking business. You're just going to have to at least a parking spot somewhere in an industrial or commercial zone, unfortunately.
Okay, so like I again want to apologize to everyone. Like if I knew about this, like this was something a part of the process I had to do, I would have done this months ago. But it's now been parked there since June 8th. And I've had no complaints at all, besides the one that was submitted on the website SeeClickFix that I was told about by the gentleman from the Planning and Zoning Commission, and that was 3 days after I brought it home. My neighbors have been all friendly. The 2 emails that you guys received, I don't know who you received them from, but my neighbors have been all friendly. We haven't had any issues at all. They come up, they ask about the truck, they ask about what I do. It's basically become a stable part of the neighborhood in the last 4 months. And I can't see myself saying it's an eyesore off, or any of my neighbors saying it's an eyesore off of the one comment received in that one email. And in my mindset, and as Mr. Frank said, if the police officers are saying this is something okay, I just can't see why it wouldn't be okay if I'm in a very tractor trailer friendly area and in a business friendly town.
Go ahead. No,
go ahead. Finish up.
Yeah, no, I have full empathy for you, and I can understand not knowing. I mean, our regulations are hundreds of pages, and how could anybody know everything that's in there? So it's absolutely nothing against you.
No, and I read the regulations
right thing by coming here.
Right.
And honestly, like, it's worth a shot. Like, that's the right thing to do. I mean, you heard us talking about the previous application. That was the wrong thing to do. Years later, fight us in court and, try to, force your business. You're not trying to force it in. You're following the process, and thank you for doing that. I just, our regulations are not
understood. It just
flexible
appears to me that those regulations were written a very long time ago, and as some people on the committee have already said, they don't even see tractor trailers like day cabs like mine that aren't like mine on the road very often. You know where you see those 2-axle day cabs at like Nets and Summers, because where I went to trucking school, because those are training trucks. But these are the trucks that feed your family, feed everyone's family here, and these are what I do to feed my family. So I just feel that it's a little wrong to then say, I own my property, I pay my town taxes, I just started this small business where I do no business at my own house, and I can't park my own vehicle that is registered at my house.
I completely empathize with the conundrum. Yeah.
Linda first, then Walter.
Sir, we're not trying to stop you from doing business. And these ordinances were not written a long time ago. Like you're assuming, and they weren't. Just because you haven't been on this board, they haven't been that long. Now, we're not trying to stop you from business. Truckers are definitely a staple in this country. We need you. But we do have to look, and if our ordinance says in 3.30.13 IIA, the commission shall consider such factors as proposed screening, proximity to adjacent lots and buildings.
Which I said I was willing to do, yes.
The size, the intended use, and hours of operations, and the neighborhood, the characteristics of the neighborhood. This is a residential area. And you're saying, well, nobody thinks my truck is ugly, and I'm not saying a truck's ugly. Truck is a truck. But we have ordinances, and we can't just look at just your little, piece of property. You have 4 neighbors. Mm-hmm. There is a proximity of 4 neighbors. And yes, your immediate neighbors are nice, but there's people surrounding those people that may not have come up to you and said, it really, you're starting your truck at 4 o'clock in the morning. It really wakes me up, or makes my dog bark, or it makes my baby cry. And I've been up all night, and then I know my kid's crying, and now I got to take care of. Do you see how this can start to spiral?
I get that,
We
but
have our regulations, and we have to go by our regulations. We can't go. I applaud you. I
Right.
really do. I mean, you've only had your license for 2 years, and you went out and said, "Hey, I'm going to make a living out of this." That's great.
yes.
And I'm glad you have a nice little family going. Congratulations on your newborn soon. Hopefully she doesn't have it tonight. Please don't do it here. Frank, you'll have to deliver it.
I'm retired.
But we have regulations for a purpose, and you're not the first person to come in front of us with the same situation, and we denied them. And if we approve this, if this gets approved, it sets a precedence across the whole town. So now you get
I mean, I don't
neighbors
think
that
it
are
necessarily-
even closer than your neighbors. Their houses are closer. It starts to set a precedence, and it's something that we have to look at, not just one, but all of Enfield when we're
I get
doing
it.
this.
I just don't think it necessarily sets any precedence, as it does seem to me like these regulations were written a while back because they don't even address the different types of vehicles. Like we can't even get a clear, concise meaning on what GVV means. The gross vehicle weight.
I agree on that.
Which is what
I
I'm
will
agree,
agree, but it also says
a problem in the
our
regulations. not the-
regulations, in the same section B, under XIII, no tractor trailer or the tractor or the trailer shall be parked in a residential district at any time. We have to go by that. Those were written not just by gross weight.
Then
They're
what would be
saying
the point
any
of the
cab.
special permit if that was the case? Because Ms. Georgie just said you guys applied. You guys approved.
You can apply.
but they were-
Anybody can apply.
Right. But what I'm saying is she just said you guys have approved in the past, but the
We
things
have
that you
not
approved have been
approved
bigger.
one of these.
You've also approved some that have 2 axles. They've been 2 axles, but some of
axles.
them are bigger and taller than my vehicle.
2 axles.
I think
The
Lori's-
difference is 3 axles here.
Okay. I have no further comments. I will leave it to the commission.
Commissioner Cluzel.
First things first, if we're going by regulations, these 2 letters should not be accepted, because what do we have people do when they get up to the counter? Name and address. There is no name and address on these. So these should be disallowed. That's number 1. Number 2, what is the year on these regulations?
2003.
2003. Okay. How much truck technology has changed since 2003?
Electric vehicles pull heavier loads nowadays. However, they don't make noise. Is the only difference.
So how much of truck, he's got a 2018, that's 15 years of truck technology. And like
We
I
don't
said,
go
with the-
by years, we go by regulations.
I understand, but 2003, like he said, that's an eternity when it comes to trucks.
Any suggestions from staff? Can't do a text amendment?
Well, I think it's difficult right now because we want to help residents and be business friendly, but we also want to make sure we're not causing nuisances or we're not disobeying our regulations. I mean, the fact is that, Commissioner Cruzel is correct in a sense where technology and vehicles have changed. Regulations can always be modified, but I think the fact of the matter is that our regulations do not define gross vehicle weight. CTDOT has a different definition than what, I interpreted it incorrectly. When I was reading the regulations, my initial thought was, weight of the cab, 17,900, it satisfies. I wasn't thinking of it as a loaded gross vehicle weight. I was thinking of it as this is the cab in the driveway. This is how much it weighs. This falls under that section. If we defined gross vehicle weight, I think it would be a different animal, and which we can definitely look at that for our reg edits. But I think that interpretation is up to you as the commission to decide how you want to proceed.
Is there any value in tabling this and you guys work on it for a couple of weeks to see what you can find out?
I guess the best we could do would be to look at if other towns define gross vehicle weight, but I don't think there would be much benefit out of it right now in this point in time,
Just
at
thinking
least.
out of the box, if that carport wasn't there, or he could get behind that, would that change anything? Pushed it back into the yard more?
From my perspective, the regulations are the regulations. Either they meet or they do not meet the regulations. We are redoing our regulations from cover to cover because they are antiquated. I agree, these are antiquated, and we really don't have a clear definition or guidance based on the way this is written. But right now, there are a couple things in there. I mean, there's 3 axles, which is more than 2, and the gross weight, and it also says that they're not supposed to be in a residential zone, and that's because it's a truck. It's a big, heavy truck, and I have a friend that's going through getting their license right now, and I totally understand exactly where you're coming from, but our job is to enforce the regulations. I don't necessarily like them or dislike them. My job is to enforce them and to guide the commission to do the same. So it is the commission's decision at this point. I don't think that we're going to find anything new or different if we table this.
The only other thing I can add, I mean, Commissioner D'Antonio had mentioned earlier the fear of being sued again or court, but I would advise against speculating in the future and just, if we get to that bridge, we get to that bridge, but I wouldn't use future circumstances as a reason for your decision tonight.
Setting
the fear of
precedent.
getting sued?
Yeah,
Fear of litigation?
setting precedents and fear of getting sued, because it applies to everybody in town. If they have a commercial vehicle, they have to come in and get a special permit. Whether or not they know about it is one thing, but this applicant is here before you tonight because this started as a notice of violation. We got a complaint from a resident, but it wasn't in June. She complained months later after he had gotten the truck, and no member of the neighborhood is here tonight in person.
That's why I asked.
Yeah. So, Lori is correct. At the end of the day, you have to follow your regs, but the GVW and everything is up to your interpretation because they are your regulations at the end of the day.
Yep. I agree with that.
Is it possible, I'm sorry, is it possible for you to drive your car to where you pick up your load in the morning and leave the truck there? Would they let you lease a spot?
The issue is there's just no space. That's the issue. They have a lot of people that do the same thing. There's one guy there that owns a lot of trucks, and he uses all the spots at that FDC. So the other little owner operators is what we're called. We just drive in from home or wherever else.
It's not an option where they would let you lease a spot, or worse, you can just drive your car there?
Yeah, currently there's just no space for me to do that at that location now.
What about in the vicinity? Where are you going, to Bloomfield, you said?
Bloomfield, Connecticut, yeah.
Is there in the industrial park there? Is that where you are? Or?
Not that I know of. I could probably do the research, but
What's around there? Where you're going?
So there isn't so if you are you familiar with MLC, Metropolitan Learning Center? Okay, so it's right behind there. There's a little industrial park, but the Home Depot FTC is the big building back there, and then there's a bunch of other small businesses just in the area.
That would be ideal if you could arrange to park your vehicle there and drive your car there.
Yeah, I'd have to look into that. Yeah.
Mr. Linsky.
Yeah, it's to the staff through the chair. We have taken exceptions to regulations in the past, have we not?
Yes.
We have taken, and this one may be a little more difficult to swallow because of the impact that we perceive may happen. Okay. However, we have done that in the past. In fact, we did it last meeting with the condo down in the Weymouth Road area. Okay, which wasn't maybe as big an impact, but however, we do have the ability to do that. I'm just wondering if we could set some special conditions on this particular permit to pretty much isolate it to this particular instance. For example, we could require that you cannot bring your loads I mean, you're saying you're not going to, but we could require that
Yeah.
and say you'd be in violation if you did bring your loads there. We also could restrict the hours.
That was
that's
my
another-
thought.
I mean, I granted that's an issue for you, but we could restrict the hours as well, because to me, that's not as big an issue, because cars go down my street at 5 o'clock in the morning with boom boxes. So, it's like there are noisy vehicles in the area. And to me, I looked at these pictures, and I don't see that it's an eyesore. I mean, I see trucks parked in residences around town that look terrible. They're blocking things. Or
The one across the street from Asnuntuck with the giant trailer park trailer, the big
I
red
haven't
one.
been down there, but
Yeah, man.
But I have seen trucks parked in driveways before that probably we should have regulations against, because they look really bad and they're blocking sight lines and all kinds of stuff. So, I'm leaning towards approval, to tell you the truth. And then we'll just take it as it may come. And I respect the experience of the other members of this council, of the commission, who have more experience on this than I do. But I just think we're just restricting this guy from doing his business, and I don't see a big reason for not doing, for doing that.
Mr. Chair?
Go, Mr. Fletcher. Go ahead.
Please.
Yeah, I take exception to staff's comment that it's up to our interpretation of the gross vehicle weight rating. It's not. It is what it is. I don't think we should interpret it to something else that it's not. That's where you're really, going down a path where I don't think we should go. It is what it is. It's cut and dry.
Right. And-
It's a DOT standard.
Right. The only reason why I got confused was because it didn't specify unloaded versus loaded in the regs. It just said gross vehicle weight.
Understood. And just to clarify, if you were to purchase a truck that weighed empty, 26,000 pounds, that truck could be loaded and carry over 50,000 pounds. So every day that truck could come back, to the resident or loaded and weigh 50,000 pounds, and because that's what it's rated for, and 90% of the time a truck is loaded as opposed to unloaded, because they don't make any money unloaded. But just to kind of clarify that point, that's it, Mr. Chair.
There was a question down here, Commissioner Gluzow? Oh, go ahead.
Pretty much.
Who wants the floor?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
That's fine.
I'm all
Yep.
set.
Please.
Maybe it would be better to table it so we can do some internal research and maybe see what we can find for a possible solution, if any.
I would like to do that. Mr. Gluzow?
Can you put a load on the hitch?
No.
Thank you.
No. Yeah, not at all.
Thank you. You cannot put a load on the hitch. So
What do you mean by that, Walt? I'm not familiar with that terminology.
you got the back where the truck hitches on. You can't put a load on that.
He's referring to the fifth wheel.
The fifth wheel.
It's unstable. You can't sit anything on it and drive.
So he's only going to have 17,000 pounds, period.
Any other comments? Could I entertain a motion to continue this public hearing?
Mr. Chairman,
Please.
I would just like, if anybody has any specific questions they'd like us to research or comments.
Well, yeah, DOT,
Okay,
absolutely
I just
reach out to them
just
and
wanted,
see.
if, okay.
CROG, CROG?
Yeah, we'll see what we can find. Try to interpret this a little bit more, get some definitions.
I think that would be a good idea. Anybody
Okay.
have any other things that they want to add for research?
I just want to say to the applicant, just while we're taking the time, you also take your time and do your due diligence, just prepare for anything, right? And look for opportunities in case you need them, right?
Yes,
We
sir.
want you to succeed. I promise you, we do. I know it doesn't seem like it. I know you are just the face in front of us right at this moment, and it was a lot easier for the people who came before us, who made the regulations, who didn't have people in front of them asking to park a tractor trailer at their house. So
Possibly reach out
this
to
makes it incredibly difficult for us too. So we feel for you. Just please prepare for anything and do your research.
Thank you, Christian. Possibly reach out to Dr. Poland as well, to see if he's any of the comparisons of communities with this issue.
Well, we'll do our due diligence.
How's that sound for tonight? We'll table it and to our next meeting.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, could I entertain a motion to table this,
I'll
please?
move to table it.
Second.
That's made, motion made and seconded. All in favor, show of hands.
I'm against.
Walter, we don't want to take a vote tonight.
No, I'm saying I'm against tabling it, but that's fine. You guys won. I'm just saying I'm against.
Right. Well, I think tabling it is a good thing.
I'm against it.
Any reason for that?
Because everything that he explained is legitimate in my book.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Cruzel.
Thank you for coming before us. Hopefully, we'll see you in a couple of weeks, and everybody put their heads together, and maybe we can come up with some kind of resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Elimo.
Thank you very much.
And thank you to the commission for hearing me.
Okay. There. Yeah, I know. Okay, Mr. Chair, Mr. Secretary,
Yeah.
3106.
The Enfield Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing at the regular meeting of Thursday, September 26, 2024, at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Council Chambers at 820 Enfield Street, Enfield, Connecticut, concerning the following application. Public hearing number 3106, 160 Abbey Road, application for special use permit, site plan review for farm store. John and Ashley Collins, applicants. John Collins, owner. Map 85, Lot 10, R88 zone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record, please.
Right. Hi there, John Collins, 9 Powder Hill Road in Enfield.
Ashley Collins, 9 Powder Hill Road as well.
Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Staff, do you want to go first? Give us an overview of
Sure.
what's happening here?
Absolutely. Just let me get my things in order. I'm not used to going first. Usually the applicant goes first. Okay, so our town council awarded ARPA money to the Collins Powder Farm. Powder Hollow Farm, excuse me. They are proposing to construct a small 14 by 24 farm store on the property. This will be right next to, well, not next to, but like a little further way down from the existing creamery. There's enough parking. They are utilizing the existing space to accommodate for those 3 spaces as required from the parking regs. This is allowed under a special permit approval from the residential section. The applicable departmental comments are pretty straightforward as usual. Let's see, building so that the store will have to meet handicap accessibility requirement and all commercial codes. Engineering, this application proposes no site improvements using the existing parking area. If the handicap accessibility requirements or planning parking requirements call for site changes, those changes will be reviewed upon submittal. All the other departments have satisfied their concerns. You would have to make a motion to grant a waiver of an A2T2 site plan and a survey. And I have no recommended site specifics during review. Everything else seemed pretty straightforward.
Thank you. So the applicant can tell us a little bit about what you're going to do there.
Sure. So I'm not sure if, well, maybe all of you have been to the farm, Collins Powder
much.
Hill Farm. Right,
Many times.
right. But our farm is located well off the main road of 9 Powder Hill Road. It's got the creamery, but the creamery is a separate business between our family members. My wife, my father, and myself. We're an LLC with the farm, so we work directly with the cows and the farm land, and so that's what our deal is. And then my brother-in-law and my sister run the ice cream business. So when people come to the farm, basically, if we sell compost and some corn stalks and straw, and we've been selling packaged beef, like freezer beef. We really don't have a central location for that, and we thought that this grant would actually give us kind of like a visitor center where they could come and ask questions about the farm versus going to the creamery and having my sister and brother-in-law's staff answer questions that they can't about the farm. So this is something that we've been thinking of to actually generate a little more income. Milk price is not awesome if you're selling it wholesale. So it's something to it's just a little more welcoming to tell people our story as well.
So will you be selling products out of that store?
So yes,
Beef and milk?
So beef, not milk. We're just going to be, for now, we're just going to be selling freezer beef.
Is that produced there? That your
Yep.
beef?
I mean, yes, we have the animals slaughtered at a USDA certified slaughterhouse, and then we go and pick the packaged meat up, and then it'd be in freezers in this building. So people would walk in, they'd see the meat there, and then we also sell bagged compost as well. So little things like that, and then produce, we sell pumpkins, and hopefully we can do sweet corn or cut flowers or something to that extent in this little shed. It's when we applied for the grant, who was it? Is it Marianne Turner? She recommended that we go with something small at first instead of going and building a glorious, farm store to be retailing, milk and cheese and all that stuff. So she said, why don't you just start with something simple? So that's where we came up with this to go with a shed. So there's no concrete foundation and yada, yada, yada.
It's going to be on a pad?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions? Commissioner DeGraff.
Well, first I want to thank you for adding more pounds to my butt.
Oh, there you go.
Because now I'll have
There
to
you
go
go.
there. So somebody will be staffing this.
So yeah, at first, we're gonna try and run it seasonally with the creamery, but the days we have to figure that out because obviously staffing is it's expensive to do if the sales aren't good. But if we have it, just to start like on the weekends, okay, that little stand will be open on the weekends so people are more direct and we can, be more organized with that employment. We have nieces that are fully, involved with the, and we have children, 3 children that are coming up as well. So
That was my biggest question, but
Right.
Now I'll have to stop at your stand, go get ice cream, then go to your stand. You're just making
Right.
another reason for me to go there.
Right.
Thank you.
So it's a
Thank
little
you.
bit like to the north of the ice cream.
So yeah,
North, west or
if you pull in, that's essentially what we're gonna be utilizing for our parking lot. Is we're gonna be sharing the front parking where the ice cream windows are.
7 spots are.
Yep. Yep. And at that corner, so it's a little further into, but it's at the beginning of the dairy farm. So then, if we do get a lot of people just walking back there at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night sometimes. It's irritating, but maybe, if they see that, they're like, okay, well, we shouldn't be going on beyond that, or, to some extent, so.
So where it's drawn in here, is that exactly where it's going to be?
Yes.
Like, we're right next to it, so you'll enter right from there, right?
Yep.
Any questions?
Yes,
Open up. Yep.
I can't find it right now, but did I see on one of the plans a pavilion?
There was.
Open air pavilion?
That has been done
Okay.
already.
So that's already there?
By
Hadn't been
my
there.
brother-in-law and my sister.
Okay, and it's next to the ice cream store, I think.
Yep,
or-
that's like in their, like, closer to their parking lot.
Like where their dirt parking lot is?
Dirt parking
Yeah,
lot,
okay,
yep.
Okay, all right. I just wasn't sure if it was part of this application.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, they
was
decided
done this year?
to separate it. I'm sorry?
Pavilion was done this year?
Yes.
I didn't even notice.
Yep, nope, it's there, it's beautiful. It's really nice. It's been a great addition.
Great, okay.
I know, I just get my milkshake.
That's all I had.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, this is the public hearing, right? Okay, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this hearing? So could you just step back, please, a little bit? If somebody's going to come up and speak, and then we'll have you come back up.
Sure.
Christopher, and, well, it's only one person. Name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, it's Christopher Karpenko, 167 Abbey Road. My wife Susan, Chris and Sue, you can call us. So we are your neighbors.
Very good.
We're friendly neighbors.
Good.
The building I looked up the building permit, and it says 160 Abbey Road.
Correct.
But what you're describing is, yeah. Okay, I don't
Address
know the
all your
rules. This
questions.
is my first time
Yeah,
here.
that's okay. Just address all your questions, though.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So the application, the permit, shows 160 Abbey Road. And our concern is if it's really at 160 Abbey Road, where exactly is that? Because we're at 167. One of their fields is right across the street, and someone plopped one of those public hearing signs right there. So our first immediate thought was that farm store is going right across the street from our house. So where is this farm store going to be?
Staff?
If I may. So the reason why the public hearing sign was there was because the farm has frontage on Abbey, and our regulations for public hearings, depending on where the property has frontage, requires one public hearing sign. So that's not where the farm store is going. The farm store is going probably about 20, 40 feet or so behind the creamery, where the existing house is, the existing cow pasture field, and then so it's in between the house and the creamery.
Yeah, that makes sense. Then why is the permit say 160 Abbey Road?
That's how the address identifies in our location system. So the property is 160 Abbey, lot 80, map 85, lot 10. That's just what it's called. They also have frontage on Powder Hollow, which could also be interpreted as 9 Powder, but in our records for property records, it's 160 Abbey.
We pay taxes on 9 Powder Hill Road, and we pay taxes on 160 Abbey Road.
And I pay taxes on 167 Abbey Road. So thank you for that. All right, I guess my questions are answered. If it was on Abbey Road, which is, obviously it's not, I was going to bring up a question about traffic, but I guess that's moot at this point. So.
On our website, we do post the commission's master packet, and the master packet has all the materials. If you wanted to see where the farm store is, the applicant has submitted a plot plan.
Oh, my stomach knows where the farm
It's
store
okay.
is. So,
You can always come in tomorrow. Come speak with us.
all right, thank you very much.
Oh,
And I approve.
oh, thank you.
Thank you.
You can come back up. Anybody else have any questions? Staff have anything else to add?
I just double-checked OpenGov to make sure the departments didn't have any additional comments. All comments have been satisfied and completed.
Very good. So I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. Discussion? All in favor, show of hands, close the public hearing? Okay, any more deliberation amongst the members? Entertain a motion to approve PH 3106.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, there's also a motion to grant a waiver to
So we do two separate motions?
to not require an A2 survey, so that'll be a separate vote first, that we'll
Thank you.
vote on that first.
All right, we'll do that first on the waiver for the survey.
I'd like to make a motion to grant a waiver of the site plan requirements requiring an A2 T2 survey as permitted by section 9.10.2C regarding public hearing number 3106.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion on the waiver.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, given the circumstances of this application being so many hundreds of feet off the road, it's not within any view of the road, I'm very comfortable with it not meeting all the setback requirements, side yard requirements, et cetera, obviously. So I think it's appropriate that we waive this requirement for those reasons.
Thank you. Any more comments? Okay. All right, roll call vote on the waiver, please. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Frank Alimo?
4.
Linda DeGray?
4.
Kenneth Helinski?
4.
Vincent Grillo?
4.
Joseph Muley?
4.
Walter Krizel?
4.
And John Petronella is 4.
All 4, none against. The waiver passes. The waiver elimination, I guess it would be. Not required. Okay, now I will accept the motion for approval on the application itself of 3106.
I'd like to make a motion to approve public hearing number 3106, 160 Abbey Road, application for a special use permit for the construction of a farm store. John Collins applicant, John M. Collins owner, map lot R88 zone with 24 conditions listed.
Second.
Made and seconded. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Frank Alimo.
4.
Linda DeGray.
4.
Kenneth Helinski.
4.
Vinnie Grillo.
4.
Walter Krizel.
4.
Joseph Muley.
4.
And John Petronella is 4.
Motion passes unanimously. All in favor? Thank you very much. Good luck. Looking forward to your new addition.
Thank you.
What's the timetable?
Well, the shed takes 6 to 8 weeks to be built, so hopefully by next spring, we're up and running.
Beautiful. Good.
That's the tentative plan.
Freezers have to be bought too.
Lasers, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgie. Thank you, Lori.
Okay. Everybody ready to continue, or you need a moment?
I think
Okay.
we've got one more thing going on here.
Item, staff ready to continue? Okay, item 15, old business. Item 15, old business. Anybody have any old business? Seeing none. Item 16, new business. Anybody have any new business? Seeing none. Other business. Other business. Anybody have any other business? That's item 17.
Yes,
No other
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, we do. We have, that's right. We have a
Extension.
We have a proposal for an extension of a prior approval. Staff, you want to give us an update on this?
Yes, Rodney Salas got an approval for 4 studios and retail space on the bottom floor in October 27th of '22. It was public hearing 3049. We require that building permits be requested within 2 years, and he's still seeking funding for the whole the whole project, actually. So due to COVID and financing issues, he would like to request a 1-year extension to the standard condition number 6, which requires a building permit within 2 years of approval.
Any questions for staff on this? Everybody familiar with this location? I was sitting when we approved it initially. Okay. I entertain a motion to approve Mr. Salazar's request for a 12-month extension
So moved.
for
Second.
Main Street, number 92 Main Street. Made and seconded. Any discussion? I don't think we could do show of hands on this, I believe.
That'd be fine.
Show of hands. All approve? All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you very much. He'll be very happy.
Yeah, he will. Can't wait to see that come together. Okay, applications to be received. Lori?
Yep, public hearing, 3107, 1655 King Street, special use permit for a two-family conversion under section 4.30.2. Patrick Kennedy, applicant and owner, map 16, lot 33, in the R33 zone. And SPR 1941 at 917 Enfield Street, site plan modification for retail space under section 9.10.7. Shakira Stanberry Williams, applicant, Julie and Robert Lai, or LAI, Lay or Lai, I'm not sure. Owners, map 25, lot 78, BL zone.
Very good.
So we will be asking for that to be an administrative approval. Basically, this is a restaurant with a liquor permit, and they're going to be taking some of the seating out and putting shelving in so they could sort of have a little bit of a retail operation. So we just want to make sure that the seating is, and everything meets
So which
the
building
code.
is this?
The One Love Jamaican Restaurant.
Yeah, right. So it's kind of like the Cracker Barrel, you know how they have like a little tiny store in the restaurant?
It's
One Love, right down the street.
Yep,
Oh, down
that way, is it? Yeah, that
Yeah.
way.
there. Yeah, where Serape's used to be. Serape's or one of them.
Yeah, it's down in the corner of D'Annunzio, or
Yeah.
Enfield Avenue.
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right, and that's what you're gonna, that's gonna be your administrative approval you're gonna present next week, next month?
It's a 3-day. 3 days.
it's a Monday.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be the administrative approval.
Right.
All right, executive session, we have none. You also, I'm sorry, Lori, were you all set?
I just wanted to discuss the fact that we've been discussing doing the applications to be received, and I know that we had discussed having it on the agenda, and we were thinking it was not a great idea just because we could get applications afterwards, but seeing as everybody wants to be notified of it and it actually helps us with record keeping, we're going to suggest that we will put the applications on the agenda, but with the caveat being that we still may have to modify it at the meeting.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah.
and it sounded like everybody was kind of leaning that way, so.
Fine,
So to make you guys happy and make paperwork happy.
Whatever makes everything move
That's what
smoothly, I'm good with.
we're- It's always a moving target, trying to get things to work right, so,
And thank you for all the time you took tonight with everybody, and appreciate
thank you.
the work. Executive session. We have
Motion
no-
to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, and motion's on the floor, second. The discussion on the motion to adjourn. No discussion? All in favor? Hey, you never know. You never know. I have to follow Robert's rules of order.